It's a Friday from the Kaiser Permanente Studios. Why are they the studio? Because it says so right there. Kaiser Permanente, great partners and friends here at SDH. Kaiser Permanente Studios here on a Freestyle Friday. And we're packed because MLS is back in. Leagues Cup is wandering its way out. We got a lot of previewing. We got to figure out who's doing what and where. But as always, we start Friday this way.
Come on, man. Go for it, dude.
It's Friday. Friday. Day.
It is Friday because they said so. All right, so here's the deal. We're going to be previewing MLS. We'll let you know what's going on, who's where, who's doing what. Nico Moreno was a late addition. He's going to be joining us at 11 o'clock, so he'll be taking us into added time from the Pacific point of view, break down everything that's on his mind in the Western Conference. That's going to happen at 11 o'clock. Working backward, Danny Higginbotham set to join us at 10:15, and Diego Pessolano from an airport before he hops on a plane is set to join us here in the next couple of minutes. And we'll go through what happened in Leagues Cup last night. We'll hear from a couple of coaches. We will let you know where Leagues Cup stands as we know it. And they take, I think, about a month off before they come back for the round of 8, and they continue to whittle it down from there. But math came into play last night, especially with the MLS teams. And we'll let you know who are the top 4 in each. Obviously, we've got a lot of teams that are playing Saturday and Sunday. In Major League Soccer, we'll let you know what the juice boxes are. We'll let you know who is navigating these matches with whistles and flags. And we will examine what it's going to look like for Atlanta United on the field as Red Bull come to town. 7:40 kicks Saturday night. Obviously, we'll have all of our coverage, 92.9 The Game, the Odyssey app, pre, post, all of it. And we'll have all of that laid out for you. Later today, 3:30 pregame, 4 o'clock on the network. Atlanta United 2 taking on Red Bulls 2 up at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. Remember, if you want to go, you want to give yourself a reason not to be in traffic for 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Tickets are free. You got to go through Ticketmaster to do it, but you have to adhere to Mercedes-Benz Stadium standards when it comes to clear bag policy and size and width and all that kind of stuff and what you can bring in. And they do have light concessions available, like water and things like that. Maddie, Jason, and I will be there starting at 3:30 with your pregame 4:03-ish kick. Atlanta United 2 in the fight in the playoffs. A handful of teams and a handful of points are chasing after positioning, and this will be the way for the foreseeable future when it comes to MLS Next Pro. Right now, Red Bulls are at 35 points, 10 wins. They're in 5th. Atlanta United 2 is at 10 wins, match in hand, 34 points in 7th. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 6 teams separated by 2 points. Red Bulls 2, Orlando City B at 35. Red Bulls have 2 more wins. Atlanta has the same number of wins as Connecticut United, but they have a far superior goal difference. That's why Atlanta's 7, Connecticut United is 8. The Pigeons, NYCFC 2, are at 33 points, 1 more win than Chicago Fire, who are at 8. And that's 10th. Philadelphia Union, 30 points, and so on and so on and so on. So if Atlanta United wins their match in hand, in addition to a match down the line, they would be roughly 4th. So that's where things are in MLS Next Pro. Big matchup, 3:30 pregame on the network, 4:03 kick. I'll have your pregame. I'll have your halftime. Maddie and Jason will carry you through it. Soccerdownhere.net, however you consume us that way. So it'll be on the network at starting 3:30 from the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. Looking forward to seeing everybody and hope that our equipment doesn't overheat because the sun is at our back and kind of drifts into all of the computers and things. So that is the rundown in MLS Next Pro. So big matchups. They're all big going down the stretch. And we'll see if Jose Silva has recovered the media match yesterday with everybody at the Atlanta United training ground. Okay, now here's a guy who is making a debut, and this one for me was kind of personal. This was a request. He's in an airport about ready to hop on a plane and head back this way. So we're going to dive in and we're going to catch up with Diego Pessolano and bring him on to the morning show here. So, which airport are you at, Diego?
Hello, I'm at Newark in New Jersey.
Yep, because you were a busy man last night, and you're going to continue to be busy as it goes. And first and foremost, thanks for hanging out with us here on the morning show. Do you know what you're getting yourself into?
Um, no, I really don't know that. Thank you for inviting me, and I apologize for my English. I'm going to try to do my best because I think it's the first time I'm show talking in English and not in my native language, that is Spanish.
That's all good. No, the reason that I wanted to have you on is
Yeah.
somewhat selfish. When it came to that large tournament that the world was involved in, a couple of months ago, I became addicted to hearing you and Sammy and everyone at Football de Primera. And
Oh,
so that's how I would run my highlights. I would run my highlights of you guys when we were talking about matches from the day before. And so I wanted to ask what that experience was like for you, being able to call a World Cup here in the United States at Football de Primera.
I mean, it was a wonderful experience. We are used to calling games, but you're talking about calling games in Spanish is a totally different atmosphere than the guys that do it in English. I am not saying that we are better than them. It's just different. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing is that we really enjoy, and when you call games on radio, it's completely different than when you have to do it for TV, because you need to describe more things. And personally, I feel it more exciting than working on TV in that aspect. But I also love working, of course, with MLS games on TV too.
When it comes to saving your voice, because I know your goal call,
Yes.
how many matches did you do during the tournament? Do you remember?
Yeah, what I don't have the exact number, but for sure we are more than 20.
Wow.
More than
How do
20,
you
yes.
how do you preserve your voice with all those matches that you call?
First of all, trying to eat healthy food. Then you need to rest and a lot of ginger for the throat. Yeah, ginger. If you mix, for example, tea with ginger and lemon, that's a good natural medicine for the boys and for the throat. And but mostly what you need to do is to rest, because when you rest is where you it's the moment where your voice also rests with you, and it really helps.
Yeah, I do honey and lemon and hot tea, and there are sprays that
That's good too.
yeah.
Honey's
So
good
that
too.
yeah. So you do ginger, I go honey and the hot tea and not talking, and people actually like it when I don't talk sometimes. So that was it was a bit of a save for a lot of those folks. Was there
Yes.
one match? Was there one match that you enjoyed calling the most?
Oh, I mean, of course, being from Argentina, I enjoy mostly the Argentine games.
Mm-hmm.
You can see I have a shirt with
Mm-hmm.
the name Maradona.
I've heard of it.
He's
Yeah.
Yes, you heard of him. I know. He's my idol. Talking between us, I have also a tattoo of Diego on my left arm, and I can show it to you if you want. But I think the one that I enjoyed was the one against Cape Verde that they play in Miami, because they were up front two times, and then they tied us, and there was like a Cinderella story for Cape Verde, but they were playing really good, and Argentina. At that time, the still the world champion, they were obliged to do their best to beat a team that was really different than ours, but it was not as good as ours. But they had to work a lot just to beat them. They did an excellent tournament from my point of view, but that was a very exciting game.
And full disclosure, I'm wearing my Argentina-Egypt match day T-shirt.
Oh, that was a great one too. That was a great one too. Yes, yes, I also called that game. I remember. Well, I called almost every game for Argentina, except the one from England that I will laugh too bad. It was my moment at that time, and they choose another guy. But yes, but I enjoy to be serious. I think I enjoy every game.
Mhm. We love all of our children equally. That is absolutely true. Diego Pessolano
That's true.
is visiting us this morning from Newark before he hops on a plane to head south.
No,
Leagues
I'm
Cup
going
last.
to.
Yeah,
I'm going.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to Nashville. We are going to
Oh,
Nashville
you're going to Nashville.
with my partner Dani Chapela. Yes, because on Saturday we're calling the game Nashville against Inter Miami. So we hopefully see Messi playing after what happened to him. But we are heading to the Music City.
Yeah. What do you think about Leagues Cup in general?
I mean, it's an interesting tournament because what I like the most is that a team to qualify for the next round needs to win for sure 2 games. And they might need to win the other one, the third one, by penalties. That's the only thing that can assure you to qualify for the next round. I think a tournament with 36 teams and only 4 qualifying, it seems to me like the Major League Baseball, that you have to play 162 regular season games and then only a couple of team goes to the playoffs, and maybe not fair. But the thing is that it pushes you to the best, and you need, what I said, to win for sure 2 games to qualify, and that I think it elevates the bar. I like what I saw up to this moment from different Mexican teams, like for example Cruz Azul, America, León. And also what I saw from Chicago, well, Cruz Azul, even though they didn't qualify, but I mean, they play really good some games. I like what I saw from Chicago and another MLS team, but the head of those players are on another environment, because they are thinking more on the regular season, on MLS regular season than Leagues Cup. But I have to be sincere. I like the tournament.
So now you get to watch Inter Miami and Nashville. Nashville, they're very sneaky with who they add to help things out offensively. But then you look at players like Andy Nahar at the back, and they're quietly going about what BJ Callahan wants them to do. And Inter Miami comes to town. So it's like a great defense and all this firepower. What are you anticipating with this one?
I mean, I think the most important reason of what is happening to Nashville right now, it has a name and a last name, that it's BJ Callahan. He elevates the level of all the players for a team that was not that good like 2 years ago. And apart from that, they added Christian Espinosa, which it's a very good player, even though they have a nice defense with, as you said, Andy Najar. And yes, they have to face an attack that it's composed by mainly Messi and Luis Suarez. Even though we don't have the starting lineup, we think they are both going to be playing, and I can anticipate it's going to be like a final game, because you don't have to get apart from the thing that they are going to be playing the first and the second on the Eastern Conference, and the first of the second of the general stand, and they are fighting for the supporter shield. So this is a very important game just for them to know where they are standing.
All right, you've teased it. Let me see it. Let me see the tattoo.
Oh, just give me a second. I have to take Italian coat out, and let me show you. It's a drawing.
There it is. Wow, that's
There's
epic.
Diego celebrating a goal. I have it.
There,
I
that's
have it
awesome.
since I'm having since 1996. Wow, 30 years
Wow.
ago. I did it. 30 years ago. I remember that when I did it and I went to sleep on the other day, my mother came and woke me up and she saw that tattoo and she was like started screaming. Was, what did you do? What did you do in your arm? You're crazy. You know, uh, 30 years ago wasn't the same like today. Everyone has like at least.
Oh, that's fantastic. I will let another member here at the network know that you have your Diego Maradona tattoo, and he will love you for it. Our Jason Longshore, who calls radio for Atlanta United, in addition to what we do
Okay.
here. I cannot thank you enough. He's as big an Argentine fan as you are. So I cannot thank you enough for doing this before you hop on a plane. May you and Daniel be safe
No,
heading down to Nashville and have a great call and to just smash it, my friend. It was great to catch up with you.
thank you. And I was showing my watch where I have my Boca Junior shield because I'm a Boca Junior fan.
Oh, boy.
And
Oh, no.
uh, yes, if you
Oh, it's
do
rough.
you get it there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And
That's
thank you
right.
so much for
Look,
having me on the show.
it's absolutely.
It's been a pleasure. And well, you have my contact, and whenever you need me on your show, I'm here to you guys.
Absolutely. And we will talk Liga and we will talk about the problems with Boca Juniors and what is going on there as well the next time you
For,
visit. That is a
for
promise.
sure.
Uh,
For sure.
no doubt. Diego, thank you, my friend. It's great to see you. Be safe and get on that plane and go have a great call.
You
There he goes. Diego Pessolano. That was fun. That, like I said, I wanted to do that one on purpose because of catching Diego on Football de Primera during the World Cup. And so that's what it gave me a chance to listen to Sammy Sadovnik and Diego and watch on Telemundo as a chance to catch up with all of our friends there. And it's interesting to get that perspective as well. But now the fact that I know that Diego Pessolano is a Boca Juniors fan, I know that when he's looking at Libertadores and Sudamericana and the regular season of the LPF, I know he's not a happy man right now. But the Diego Maradona tattoo on the right arm, did not know that. That's very cool. Very, very cool. So that is what is going on. All right. So Alex, good morning, Alex, by the way. Morning, Alex. Morning. No, I don't want to. I'm not leaving Twitch. Stop it. Open link in new tab. Let's see. So what is Tommy Scoops talking about this morning? Okay. We'll keep an eye on this. All right. So as of 13 minutes ago, Tom Bogert, Atlanta United finalizing a deal to sign Brel Mbolo from Rennes. $18 million, one of the top 5 most expensive in Major League Soccer. 10 plus 3 for Rennes last year. So we'll keep an eye on this and updated at 9:09 this morning. So worked simultaneously on a number of high-profile targets as Emmanuel Latelat departed for Union Berlin, 10 plus 3, 34 appearances for Rennes last season, previously featured for Monaco and Borussia Mönchengladbach. Switzerland at the World Cup this summer, 26 goals, 92 caps for his country. And so that is what we will be keeping an eye out on. Would end his 12-year career in European football, born in Cameroon, came through the academy setup of the Swiss Super League in Basel in 2014. 6 seasons in the Bundesliga. Schalke, Mönchengladbach moved to Monaco in 22 with Rennes right now. So Tommy Scoops has Brel Mbolo heading to Atlanta to be the next high profile up top. So obviously we'll keep an eye on all of that. But no, that was very cool to catch up with Diego Pessolano, and he was great. I know that there are a lot of times where there will be folks who are somewhat concerned about how they come across. But Diego is fantastic. Sammy's great when he comes on. Jorge Perez Navarro, when he comes on, we get to talk wrestling. And I think it's interesting to hear a different set of voices. Danny Higginbotham set to join us in about 40 minutes. And we will find out what's going on in Danny's world. Party time, excellent. But so Braille and Bolo. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that one. It is not final. It is in the final stages. So it's where we are. So Braille and Bolo possibly maybe heading this way. So final stages, according to Tom Bogert over at The Athletic, and we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, this morning we have not gotten the perfunctory 5 stripes don't stop. We have not seen that. So nothing has come across in that vein, but obviously we'll keep an eye on what's going on there. So it looks like. So it is in the process of being finalized. So it's down that road, and we'll see what it looks like coming across. So that is that's the thing to kind of keep an eye on with all of your notifications, etc. Braille and Bolo, probably, if things work their way through, that Braille and Bolo will be the new man up top for Atlanta United. But obviously we'll keep an eye on that as we go, and we'll keep an eye on all of those things. All right, so Leagues Cup last night. Like I said, we'll keep an eye on this. Like I said, Danny Higginbotham set to join us, and Danny is also heading to Nashville. He may already be there unless he's flying and taking a hop flight from the Northeast today, like Diego is. So Diego's leaving from Newark, and he's heading to Nashville. We'll find out where Danny is at 10:15. He might be at home and might be leaving later today just to hop into town. And we'll talk fantasy football with Danny too, because Danny was the one. And I'll have him reemphasize this when he comes in. He was the one that convinced me to trade for Jalen Hurts and sending Justin Herbert away to bring Jalen Hurts in to help out my offense this year. So I needed to consult with Danny, and Danny said, do it. So there we go. All right. Now, Leagues Cup last night. It was the last night of Leagues Cup, and it was 5 matchups. And you could tell who wanted to be there and who didn't. You really could. For the first matchup, Santos Laguna Team 35 and Philadelphia Team number 5. Once again, the rankings were from last year's numbers. It was not something that was laid out with, they're the 5th bit. No, it was last year's stats, last year's rankings in the table that gave you their ranking into this tournament. So Team 5, Philadelphia. Team 35, Santos Laguna. And it was nothing at the break. And it kind of turned very, very early in the second half the way of Santos Laguna. So this was part of that run. 2 goals in a handful of minutes. And on the call for this one, it was Callum and Kalen, Leagues Cup and Apple TV.
Santos Laguna now favourites over Philadelphia Union with a 1-0 advantage. Can they find a second here as they manoeuvre down the right-hand side? In it comes, and it's another goal. Santos Laguna, at just the second time of asking, in the early exchanges in the second half, have their second goal. And are swiftly pushing Philadelphia Union to one side.
Santos Laguna coming out of halftime looked like a completely different team, and Renato Paiva has brought in a second striker with Buyade. Got the assist on the first goal, and this time with Palacios dropping deep. He's right in that number 9 position, and it's a great ball in behind from Villalba to release Cuevas, the right back in space, and the first time ball across right to a number 9.
2 goals in 3 minutes for Santos Laguna, and they would go on to win it 2-0. Philadelphia, by the way, just to give you their starting lineup, and we'll have Ryan Richter talk about this in a second. Starting lineup was Andrew Rick in net. Left to right was Raffanello, Sari Larson, Gainer Martinez, and Rafa Uzcategui. Midfield 4, it was Anello, Bender, Jesus Bueno, and Quinn Sullivan. Stas Korjanowski and Ezekiel Alado were up top, going up against the matchup in the 4-2-3-1 for Santos Laguna. On the bench, you had Andre Blake, Nathan Harriel, Kai Wagner, Bedoya, Westfield, LeBlanc, Kevin Sullivan, Jean-Jacques, Luka Jakupovic, and Finn Sundstrom came in, and he got a yellow card for his trouble. But it was a rotated squad. And Ryan Richter, after the match, was asked about the match in and of itself and the opportunity to give players like the ones that were in the starting lineup for him last night the opportunity because of schedule compression and how compressed that schedule is.
Yeah, that's the main thing with the squad rotation, including tonight. It's 4 games in 10 days, and that's tough to play with the same team through that kind of stretch. So it was an opportunity for a lot of guys, and for us to look at and get answers of exactly what role guys are capable of playing, and also giving the opportunity that they can earn that role. But yeah, the main reason was, we turned around Sunday against New York City in a big game, and to try to keep the form that we've had in league, to keep that going, and we wanted to make sure that we were fresh going into that.
How's Gainer doing after that knock?
Yeah, I haven't gotten an answer, but it didn't look great when you normally have to come out with a head injury. That's not great. So hopefully he's okay, and if it is something, that it's something minor, but we'll get the answer on that probably tonight or tomorrow.
With Rafael Uzcategui getting that opportunity, what we talked about previously, and making his first start for the first team, thoughts on his minutes tonight?
Yeah, I was proud of him. And with all the guys, all the young guys who came in and got the opportunity tonight, they were brave. And that's the one thing that I'm really proud of him for, and I'm happy for him that it was a big moment for him, and he wasn't afraid of it. Was it a perfect game? No. It wasn't even his preferred position, but he did the best that he can, and that's what I saw from him over the last 2 years, is that he puts everything into every game, and you're never going to walk away from a game thinking that he didn't put everything that he could into it.
Ryan Richter, after the 2-0 loss last night for Philadelphia Union in Leagues Cup, 4 matches in 10 days for Philadelphia, and a lot of teams that are juggling Leagues Cup and regular season, they were dealing with that kind of schedule compression. But for Philadelphia, 4 matches in 10 days, they rotate out, and it's a 2-0 win for Santos Laguna last night in Leagues Cup. Then match number 2 of the 5, and this is the thing, when I want my matchups, there's something in the system on the Leagues Cup website where they scroll you to the top. It doesn't hold where you were. It goes to the top, which is like weeks ago, and I'm not interested in that. In Harrison, New Jersey again, which is another contributing reason probably to why the schedule makers have Red Bulls coming this way and not being at home. That turf up at SI Stadium in the swamps of Jersey, it was feeling it. New York City, Team 14, hosting Necaxa, Team 22, and it was Keaton Parks with a goal early, 1-0 at the break for NYC, and then it's all Necaxa in the second half. Necaxa would score twice, and they would eventually get the Duke in this one. But here's one of those goals that got them full points in New Jersey. You'll recognize the voice. It's Jess and Ian Joy on the call.
Cutting, leaving Cavallo rooted. As it's laid for the overlap now. Cross comes Sizzle, deflected, headed clear, and finds the back of the net. It's Torres with the goal. Necaxa are pulled ahead.
Well, what a moment for Varini and his side. This is an exquisite finish. Absolutely beautiful. Right place, right time. And you got to credit the willingness and desire in the second half to just go for it. Initially, the cross couldn't quite make it into the danger position. If it's not on, don't force it. The deflected cross helps them. Carranza a problem inside that penalty area.
I wonder what Ian Joy sounds like on caffeine. The naturally caffeinated Ian Joy doing color with Jess Charman. So it was a 2-1 win for Necaxa. Team 22 gets the win over NYC. Matchup number 3 would take a while. It was at Q2, and it was Team 3 going up against Team 24. Club America visiting Austin. Austin listed as the away team. And John Gallagher at a goalless game at the half. John Gallagher an own goal credit 3 minutes into the second half, but then, mama, there goes that man again. And I don't know what has gotten into Mirto Uzuni. Maybe it's Davy Arno. I don't know. But Mirto Uzuni continues his hot streak in Leagues Cup. Evidence here. Leagues Cup and Apple TV. Tony Husband and Ross Smith.
Who's going to make the smarter changes on a hot night? Irving Torres' cross. Vasquez was there. This is Uzuni. And he's going for the corner, and he's found it! Austin's big player with a big goal, reigniting their League's Cup life.
Well, credit to Davy Arnaud because he switched things around, which brought Irvin Torres a little wider, a little further up, and that's one of the first balls that we've seen threatened. He's got numbers in the box to hit Torres, and it's caused chaos for Coda. It can only just help it on, and from there.
And so they end up getting the goal there, your equalizer, and it goes to PKs. And Austin gets the Duke 6-5 in PKs. They get the extra point. Davy Arnaud, still the interim head coach in Austin, was incredibly pleased with what he saw last night with that club going up against Club America. Here is Davy Arnaud after the match.
Well, first of all, there were a lot of America fans, but there were a lot of Austin FC fans also. And the Austin FC fans were just as loud and just as into the game, and we could feel them. Obviously, there was more probably traveling fans than we're normally used to, but the job that our fans did tonight, man, that inspires you. It inspires the team, it inspires the group, it inspires the whole club. So I want to say that first. I thought they did a great job tonight. As far as the game, look, it's a difficult game against a good opponent. They're very good. They had a ton of individual quality. They cause real problems. They press after they lose the ball really well. It's not always going to be perfect. And in these types of games, you have to show that you can win games in different ways. And I thought tonight we had some good moments being us with the ball, and I thought we had some moments where we just had to grind it out. We had to defend. We had to block shots. We had to defend corners. In the right moments, we had to have big players make big plays like Mirto did. And I thought you saw as the second half went on, once we kind of slowed the game down a little bit, we allowed ourselves to get in more of a rhythm. We gained a little bit of territory where we could move up and actually set up the attack, where we didn't lose the ball quickly after we regained it. I think that helped us, and I think we saw once we did that, the game went more as we would want it to. But listen, again, I'm smiling because I'm so happy. I'm so happy for the players. I'm so happy for them. I mean, I'm happy for everybody, the club and the fans, but I'm so happy for the guys in the locker room. Not everyone sees what these guys do every day and the work that they put in and how they buy in and how they challenge each other. And man, they take it on, and they showed real personality tonight. And I'm so proud of them. I'm so happy for them.
Davy Arnaud after the match last night. Bit of a gut check at home as the away team for Austin FC. They get the win in PKs. They get the extra point. Like I said, we'll go over the final standings and the four that advance on each side, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. So you had that matchup where Austin gets the Duke in PKs. That left you with 2 on the board, and it was Cruz Azul ranked number 4 going up against Chicago Fire ranked number 18. And it was a goal by Chicago in the 67th that Johnny scores. Then Ibanez scores in the 81st to equalize. And you're thinking it's going to go to PKs. And this would be where you pick up your number 2 Ticonderoga pencil and point at the screen and go, not so fast, my friend. Because 90 plus 3, you end up with the game winner. And in this one, it's Nate Bacady and Devin Kerr in Bridgeview at SeatGeek, Leagues Cup, and Apple TV.
On the park, it goes for Load.
Oh, nice.
He gets it through, and here comes Haile Selassie. He puts it across, and there's the match winner for the Chicago Fire. And it's that man again, D. Tejan. Well, the fans here at SeatGeek Stadium are trying to process what just happened.
And what just happened was Chicago Fire getting the Duke. 2-1 your final there. And that meant that full points would go one way and not the other when you thought it might be going to PKs, and folks trying to fight for that second point that you would get by winning said PKs. So we will you've got that match as 4th of 5. And then obviously in Bridgeview, if you watched the match last night, you had that chant happening on goal kicks. And it has been a point of frustration recently for me that you do not have officials that are, how do we say this, effectively using the rules at their disposal when it comes to a particular chant. Didn't happen in the U20 final, should have a lot, but no, you didn't want to have that happen there in a final, I guess. And then also happened last night, yes, that chant in Bridgeview last night from the Cruz Azul fans. So John A scores 67 and 90 plus 3. Chicago gets the win. Cruz Azul does not. Then that gets us to the last game on the board, and it was late night, and it was a long night for Tijuana. Team 26, Portland. Team 27 for Tijuana in this one. And first 40 minutes, it was Tijuana with the lead. El Ghazani scores in the 19th to give Xolos the lead. Kevin Kelsey would equalize 21 minutes later. On this one, it is Blake Price and Brian Dunseth on the call, Leagues Cup and Apple TV.
Release on that one. Caicedo steps in front. Da Costa in a little bit of space at the corner. Forward overlapping. There's the cut to Kelsey! We're tied at 1. Biding their time, the Timbers find a way through the red wall.
Well, since coming over from FC Cincinnati, Kevin Kelsey, it's seemingly that number 9 position was his. It certainly is so after the departure of Felipe Mora. And because of his player profile, his age, and the way that he runs that line, there's always going to be interest in this young man. Build up right through the middle.
And there you go. That was your 5th of 5 last night. And you end up with the home team getting the win. So now standings in Leagues Cup. So who moves on and who stays here? We wait about a month, and the way that it looks like in the quarterfinals, it's going to be León and RSL, Toluca and Austin, Club America and Columbus, Monterrey, and Chicago. Dates of the quarterfinals to be discussed later. And then the left-hand side of the bracket, León, RSL, Toluca, Austin. Then you end up with right-hand side, Monterrey, Chicago, Club America, and Columbus. Then they work their way forward. September 6th is your third-place match and your championship game. So everything is going to be working toward those particular dates on the calendar. So that would be what it wrapped up as. So León, top seed, 9 points, 3 for 3. America at 7 points. Toluca and Monterrey advanced by going 2-1, and then they end up with the goal difference, etc. Then at Chicago went 3 for 3. Austin and Columbus with 8 points each, and then it is RSL at 7 points, 2 wins and a penalty kick loss, and that leaves everybody else out and focused on those competitions. So that is Leagues Cup, and obviously we'll follow that as we go. But that's your groupings of everybody in that competition. And now they get to come back and be a part of things in league play, which is what we're going to get into. I know that everybody's kind of looking at Braille and Bolo here and looking at his numbers, looking at season numbers in 34 matches with Rennes, 10 goals. Monaco, 89 matches, 22 goals. Borussia Mönchengladbach, 25 and 106. 12 in 61 at Schalke from 16 to 19. And then at Basel, 30 in 90. With Rennes, 10 goals and 3 helpers in 34 matches, all comps, and an average of 6.82, 2 goals in 2 Coupe de France matches, and 8 in Ligue 1 in 31. So once again, primary position for Mbolo, 29-year-old Swiss striker, right-footed preferred, and it looks like he is heading this way. Player traits compared to other forwards in the competition in Ligue 1, actually in top quarter in defensive contributions in addition to. So top 30% in goals, top quarter in defensive contributions. And so obviously looking at the other numbers as we go. So once again, preferred right foot, top quarter in defensive contributions, top 30% in goals with 10 in all comps, 8 in Ligue 1, 2 in Coupe de France this year. And so we'll keep an eye on anything else that comes in with Braille and Bolo, but we'll keep an eye on that as it appears. And when it comes to now this is season performance so far, obviously top of the charts in a lot of categories, and defensive contributions toward the top, interceptions at the top, recoveries, possessions, one final third, clearances, and so let's see, 10, and this includes his 10 most recent matches with Switzerland, scoring highly, starts, minutes, assists compared to strikers in Ligue 1, 10 most recent matches. Once again, you can go to FOTMob, which is where I'm looking at all this stuff, and I'm staring at those numbers. 8 goals, 3 assists, average FOTMob rating of 6.81 with 3 yellow cards, and visual breakdown. Where's the shot map? Shot map, there's a lot of shots in Bolo takes inside the 18 or has taken inside the 18. So that is the on-target at 50% so far this season in 506 minutes played. And I'm trying to see what else. Let's see. 4 trophies. And so obviously we'll keep an eye on that. But that's the quick numbers when it comes to Braille and Bolo. So obviously keep an eye on that. And it looks like it's in the neighborhood of 15 million euro. He could be heading this way. So keep an eye on the Braille and Bolo sweepstakes that apparently the 6'2 striker may have won with Atlanta United. So we'll keep an eye on, once again, keep an eye on Braille and Bolo. And then obviously also Jason will have the more detailed analysis and as it goes, if this does come to pass, and we'll have all the intel on Braille and Bolo coming up as we go. But we'll keep an eye on this one. But right now it is linked. Final stages is what we're hearing. Tom Bogert and the Athletic looking at that one. So and Ben Jacobs has now come in behind and said that basically the same thing, referencing the Bogert article being first. So we'll keep an eye on Braille and Bolo. But right now looks like 15 million euro, 18 million US. He'll come in and be the new striker to help out up top. So we'll see what that looks like going forward. All right. Let's see. Where are we here? We are actually, tell you what, let's do odds and ends before we get into MLS in hour number 2. Let's do that. Did you see, and this might be more of an opening kickoffy thing, but did you see where it appears that Burnley had issues with the front of their jersey? They're back in the championship, and they had to pull their jerseys from their store because it appears their sponsor went belly up. And so the sponsor, Fayetteville 1, they've gone belly up, and so all of a sudden you end up with a sponsor 2 weeks before the season starts that they've got to pull all those jerseys and come up with a new kit sponsor on the front. Kieran Maguire, Burnley failed to do proper due diligence before signing up with a shirt sponsor who then failed to pay for the front of the shirt deal, leaving the club with egg on their face. Burnley now signed up with another, more reliable sponsor, presumably paying a lot less. And this is the well-known Cypriot-based trading platform, Fayetteville 1. So FOS, Fayetteville 1, was linked to the front of the Burnley jersey, and they didn't pay for the front of the they didn't pay the deal. And so today, literally, Burnley had to stop selling the shirts, and then they had to come up with a new sponsor. Virtu Motors is now the sponsor on the front, and so FOS out of Cyprus did not pay, and so Burnley had to pull all their shirts or just stop selling them. Supporters who purchased a shirt have 3 options. They can claim a full refund, exchange the shirt for a replacement featuring the Virtu branding, or have Virtu branding applied to the existing shirt free of charge. So you could have the Cypriot You could have the Cypriot outfit, Fenotive, be on the front. You literally could if you wanted to. The trading platform, Fenotive 1. You could have that on the jersey, and then you could find a way to put Virtu Motors on it. You could have literally could turn into NASCAR. You literally could turn that into NASCAR. But apparently the FOS, they went bust right before the start of the season. That's not good. That is not good. West Ham's going to have to wear their white away shirt, by the way. Fenotive 1, no longer their logo, already selling shirts with it on there. It was ending 2 months of a one-year deal. Acted decisively to protect the club's interests. Burnley will have Virtu on the front. Fans can exchange. Virtu's been with them before. So, yeah. How was it phrased? How was it phrased with the trading platform? Fenotive 1 out of Cyprus. Who knew that might turn into something dodgy? Just saying. That's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. We start your day with the most important stories of your day and the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil, Guatemala, heavy body, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. And like I said, we are obviously keeping an eye on anything updating Brielle Mbolo. And right now, like I said, heading in this direction. So we'll see what it looks like with Brielle Mbolo. Okay. Also, one of the camps that is going on down in Fayetteville at the Arthur M. Blank U.S. Soccer National Training Center is involving the U17s on the youth national team side. And they're down there for another handful of days. Hang on just a second. Let me get the official dates here. But you have big matchups down in Fayetteville involving the youth national team. And on the youth side, it was the U17s yesterday taking on Mexico. And it was a back and forth affair in this one. And so your highlights, courtesy once again of U.S. Soccer, you'll recognize the voice. It was a back and forth game, U.S. and Mexico down in Fayetteville. And once again, courtesy of our friends at U.S. Soccer and some guy named Jason.
Turns it out wide to the right. Reyna will get the throw. Di Maria turns, gets in behind. Di Maria into the 18. Di Maria goes down, penalty. It felt like a matter of time for Matty Di Maria, consistently getting around the outside of the Mexico defense. Got the step, drew the contact, and the United States will go to the spot. Carolina Reyna will step up to take it. Well, at least stepped up to the spot. Might have a little bit of gamesmanship for the U.S. It's going to be Amari Manning instead to take. Ania Lopez in goal. Manning also headed to the University of North Carolina when this camp is done. Whistle blown. Manning. Goal, 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 United States. Sixth goal of 2026 for Amari Manning. And part of the rise of this group from that U15 CONCACAF win back in 2024. It's been consistently contributing across the last couple of years. Big goal for the United States. They lead 1-0. Back post. Headed back across and in. Goal. Goal. Goal Mexico. Mia Urbano on the back post. Sanchez to Urbano, and it's 1-1 here in Fayetteville. Arredondo. Saunders off the crossbar. Sanchez will run it down. Tries to turn back. Can't get the cross off. Stood up on the far side. Still Zoe Sanchez. And that will do it here in Fayetteville. What a match. U.S. and Mexico U17s finish 1-1. Mia Urbano with the equalizer for Mexico from the corner from Zoe Sanchez after the U.S. earned a penalty. Maddie Di Maria getting in behind, drawing contact, and Amari Manning converting from the spot.
So both teams getting ready for the U17 Women's World Cup in Morocco in October down in Fayetteville. U.S. back in action Sunday night against Chile. And Jason will have the call there, and you can watch that one on the U.S. Soccer YouTube channel and keep up with everything going on involving the national teams. So very, very cool stuff there. And that's what happens when you're down in Fayetteville. Literally, you're in Fayetteville these days, and you get all of these updates on all the national teams. And we're going to be down there as much as we can to catch up with coaches and let you know what's going on with all the national teams as they continue to work their way forward in the national stage. So very, very cool stuff there as well. Also involving Atlanta United, keep an eye out. And this was a story that came out yesterday. This is probably going to end up, if this comes to pass, it's going to end up as probably a twos signing. And it came out yesterday from America Football Club, and it appears America Football Club SAF has concluded the negotiation. This came out yesterday for the transfer of forward Caio Assis to Atlanta United, and the Alvi Rubro gets 25% of the pass going forward, the sell-on fee, ensuring financial participation in any future transfer. And so the club wishes success to Caio Assis, 18 years old and coming up from Brazil, and America Football Club. 6 matches, 5 goals for the U20s for America, and it looks like I said, this is looking like it's going to be a twos purchase to start, or a twos edition to start, with activity up top. So Caio Assis, keeping an eye on that one once again. 6 matches played in the U20s and 5 goals so far. So literally the club wishes success to Caio Assis in his new professional challenge. So that's we're keeping an eye on that. Once again, you're looking at Northeast champion in 98, Brazilian champion 2022. And so coming from America of Brazil's U20s, Caio Assis, striker, looks like he'll be added in the next little while as well. So once again, this is what happens when you set your notifications in a certain way and you end up finding out about teams in Brazil that are going to be attached to players going forward. So that's what you're staring at there. Also on the board for Major League Soccer, Minnesota United brings back A.Z. Jackson. We remember how A.Z. Jackson was with Crew in St. Louis City SC. Also had some time with the Whitecaps. Loan spell there, 1+3 in 14 matches. LAFC signs Armindo Sieb from Bayern Munich. The international forward joins through 28-29 with a club option for 1 more. 22+7 in 128 appearances with stints with Mainz and Greuther Fürth before his move to Bayern. This happened yesterday during the show. Didn't get the chance to mention it. Purple team trading Tahir Reed-Brown to St. Louis City. The Orlando native goes up for $450,000 in GAM, $150,000 guarantee in GAM next year. Performance-based add-ons. Sell-on percentage retained by Orlando. Reed-Brown joined the club's academy in 2020. Has represented the U.S. on the 23 U17 World Cup circuit. The Revs have added Tylon Smith on loan. Revs acquiring the South African defender from QPR through 27. Purchase option included. Came through Stellenbosch FC before joining QPR in 25, 10 appearances in the championship. In the colleges, in red clay, number 19, Georgia, had a scoreless draw at Illinois. Second time in 3 seasons, Bulldogs has started their year with a goalless draw. Same thing happened against Pitt in 24, and it was in front of just under 800 at Demirjian Park. Hannah Folliard, 3 saves for the clean sheet in her season debut. 6 of the matches, 7 shots came in the first 36 minutes. Then it was a debut for a reshaped Georgia roster. 5 Bulldogs' first collegiate appearances. Handful of transfers make their appearances. And then it's going to be Minnesota on Sunday for UGA. And that is 1 o'clock, and that's going to be on B1G+. Programming note, Monday at 11, we're going to have Kadani McAlpine on with us to wrap up the Monday show, getting you ready for next Thursday in soccer at Sanford. Marion Crowder, who's going to be on the crew for the match itself, along with Glenn Davis and Jill Lloyd. And Marion Crowder is going to join us at 10:30 on Tuesday, and that will set that up as well. So Kidani McAlpine Monday at 11. Marion Crowder is going to join us at 9:30 on Tuesday to break everything down. And we'll see if we can catch up with Glenn before, because we're going to have, it looks like we're going to have a pregame show Thursday about 6 from Athens, getting you ready for the matchup, Soccer and Sanford, where they're, if you're in the area, go. UGA is trying to set a record for women's soccer attendance. They're doing it at Sanford Stadium. Kirby Smart has even come out and told everybody to go over and support the soccer program. But Thursday, 7 o'clock kick, 6 o'clock pregame for us. You'll hear, once again, you'll get your lineups, get set. Kidani McAlpine, Marion Crowder coming up this week. And we'll get you ready for everything with James Madison coming up Thursday night, 7 o'clock, pregame at 6 on the network. And then you turn over to SEC and watch Glenn Davis, Jill Lloyd, and Marion Crowder on the call for that one. Should be a fun night in Athens, and we'll be up there Thursday to break it all down for you. All right, it is 10 o'clock, which means one thing. It means it is time for the hydration break, brought to us by our friends, Local Vine, beer, wine, and liquor stores. And it's an opportunity for us to once again thank them for being great partners here in 2026 with us. 2 locations, Johns Creek and Cumberland, the corner of Cumberland Parkway and Cobb Parkway. And literally, if you go in for an impulse buy, if you just go in, you got a list. The stores are huge, and you'll probably end up with a lot more than you wandered into. So hydrate, everybody. Thanks to Local Vine, beer, wine, and liquor stores for hanging out with us here in 26 and bringing a great friend at the Kaiser Permanente Studios and all points in between. Hydrate away. There you go. All right. Let's see. Let's get into the international stuff before Danny Higginbotham set to join us in under 15 minutes, like 12 minutes or so. And we will find out what is on his mind when it comes to coming out of Leagues Cup and heading into the Major League Soccer season. When you got all of your gossip, rumor, and innuendo, looks like Ferran Torres is getting closer than had been anticipated the previous day about heading to a new locale. Barca is going to come back with apparently a new bid for Rodri, and Enzo Maresca says it looks like it's unlikely City is going to meet the 120 million pound cutoff for Enzo Hernandez. Gerald Kwanzaa is being kept an eye on by Arsenal, and keep an eye on that. So PSG looks like they're getting Torres on a $58 million deal. So that would be the number right now that's currently posted. Trending rumors: Arsenal have held talks with Galatasaray about the availability of Victor Osimhen, according to the Daily Telegraph. Discussions came during talks over separate deals for Gabriel Martinelli and Ethan Nwaneri. Unclear which side raised the possibility of a move. One would be pursued. Long-standing interest in Osimhen from Arsenal. Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany reporting Galatasaray turned down a 130 million euro offer from Al Hilal for the striker. Gazzetta reports Nwaneri is also a target for AC Milan. Spurs have registered formal interest in Cody Gakpo to Liverpool, kicking off the process to try and sign, according to Voetbal International's Just Blauhof. A lot of vowels. Gakpo at his lowest scoring return in 3 seasons at Liverpool, 9 goals, all comps, 3 goals in 4 appearances for Netherlands at the World Cup. Contract at Anfield till 2030. Jules Koundé could leave Barcelona this summer should an offer come in for the defender in the final few weeks of the window, according to Mundo Deportivo. Report says an exit cannot be ruled out. Arsenal, City, Liverpool among the clubs credited with interest in the 27-year-old who made 47 appearances last year for Barcelona. Chelsea have ID'd Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton and AFC Bournemouth's Alex Scott as 2 potential transfer targets this summer, according to Team Talk. Considering replacements for Enzo Fernandez, Friday deadline once again for that to happen. AC Milan looking for a move on as many as 8 stars in the final few weeks of the window, according to Sky Italia. Tomori Nkunku, Santi Jimenez, Estupinian, and Yusuf Fofana on that list. Ruben Amorim wants to shake up options, having confirmed Gonzalo Ramos and Mario Gila. We mentioned Rodri. City value him at more than 70 million euro. Total package, latest offer in that region. We mentioned Gerald Kwanzaa from Bayer Leverkusen to Arsenal. We mentioned Ferran Torres as well. Arsenal keeping in close contact with Atletico de Madrid and Julian Alvarez's reps. Forward's future still unresolved. That's Team Talk. Juve have stopped pursuing the deal to sign Zion Suzuki, which was in the neighborhood of 35 million euro last time I checked, on a loan after he completes the move to PSG. Instead, they're now working on a loan move for Spurs keeper Guillermo Vicario. That's from Gianluca Di Marzio. Sport. Hector Fort is free to leave Barca this summer. 20-year-old right back attracting interest from Liverpool, Everton, and Fulham. Arsenal reached an agreement to sign Vincent Joseph from Liverpool Academy. Two teams now in talks to reach a settlement for the 16-year-old striker, featured twice in the U18 Premier League last season. It's from The Athletic. Florian Plettenberg again. Leeds have agreed personal terms with Borussia Mönchengladbach defender Nico Elvedi for a contract until 29. Leeds preparing an opening offer for the 29-year-old previously played under Daniel Farke. Bayer Leverkusen turned down a 20 million euro offer from Premier League side Ipswich for midfielder Ezequiel Palacios. Valuation deemed too low. Keen to move to England this summer. Once again, Plettenberg, who's busy today. Marseille had made an offer to sign Arsenal winger Reece Nelson. Ford has just a year left on his deal. Initial offer expected to be rejected. Another could be on the cards for the league side. That's from Foot Mercato. Leeds in talks with Marseille over potential exit for keeper Lucas Perry following the signing of James Trafford. Brazilian winger Igor Paixão has been discussed as an option who could move in the other direction. That's from Team Talk. That's all of the Team Talk and the gossip, rumor, and innuendo that we've got this morning. So now, get you into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, brought to us by our friends at Fanati's, fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important. Helps us out, helps them out, helps you out, especially with all of your streaming that you might be interested in South America. You get a lot of the A and B divisions from a lot of the nations that are there, ties to Tigo Sports, ties to CATV, ties to Copa Argentina through TEC, and Argentine football, you get the LPF, you get to Libertadores, Sudamericana. Shock result last night, but it was not shocking to Nino Torres with Cienciano and Botafogo, and it wasn't that close. It was a scary one, how much of a distance it was with those two clubs. At altitude in Cusco, Cienciano has that weapon, and it's tough for folks to respond to it, and Botafogo was that way last night. It was not pretty. Then you get TVV out of Venezuela. You get CDO Plus out of Chile. Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. You end up with, we mentioned TEC, you also get all the BNs. And with all the BNs, you end up with WAFCON, which has been an amazing tournament. The final and the third place match are this weekend. Can Malawi close the deal? And I wonder how many folks from Atlanta 2028 are keeping an eye on what's going on at WAFCON. Just saying. So you've got WAFCON this weekend. You have the Portuguese League. You have the Turkish League, the French League, and what's the fourth one? I always forget. So Turkey, France, Poland, Portugal. That's what you get in addition to everything on Middle East and North Africa. You get WAFCON, you get AFCON, you get the Champions League, you get all of the U tournaments chasing after World Cup bids. All of that in one place at Fanati's, fntz.co/soccer down here. BN en Español, simulcasting Galatasaray and Shorim Belediyespor. That's at 2:30. CBS Sports Network Championship, it gets underway. Wolves and Blackburn Rovers at 3. BN en Español has the Primera at 3:15. Sporting and Vitoria Guimarães, and the Super League at 2:30. Fox Deportes, the league we don't talk about, and the Colombia Primera at 7 o'clock. Fox ONE simulcasting. Fox Soccer Plus is simulcasting the league we don't talk about. 4 matches in Next Pro today. 1 football, MLSNextPro.com, and Major League Soccer's YouTube channel. It is Atlanta United 2, Red Bulls 2 at 4, Real Monarchs, Minnesota United 5:30, 2 at 7 o'clock, including Chattanooga going to Toronto to take on the Baby Reds, and Ventura County at Dynamo Dos. That's also at 7 o'clock. Paramount Plus, Copa Italia 2:45, English Championship at 3, Scottish League Cup at 2:45. Veeks has the LPF, Racing Club in Bonfield at 7:30. It is Amazon Prime on the women's side, NWSL, Gotham and Current at 8. That should be your mandatory viewing right there. NWSL Plus, 3 matches at 10 o'clock, all West Coast. Seattle, Chicago, Utah Bay, San Diego, and Denver. Viga has a Liga MX Femenil, 9 o'clock, Cruz Azul and Atlante. Tomorrow on the board, Bean's got Primera League at 3:30, Friendlies at 10:45, and the Super League in Turkey at noon, Kasımpaşa and Trabzonspor. Championship at 10 a.m. on CBS Sports Network, League 1 at 7:30, Notts County and Leicester. Leicester is kicking the tires on sale. Being in Espanol simulcasting, ESPN Deportes doubleheader in La Liga as they get underway. Fox Deportes, Dortmund and Rome at 11:30. The league we don't talk about follows. Triple header, 2 to NA and Univision on Sábado Futbolero, 6:30, 9, and 11. Apple has all of your matchups. We'll get into the officials and the juice boxes after Danny Higginbotham at the bottom of the hour, and we'll analyze the folks in the middle for Atlanta United and Red Bulls. Golazo Network, friendlies at 10 a.m. Saturday, 2 games in the championship, and 2 on USL Championship at 7 and 10:30, ESPN Plus, La Liga, Eredivisie, Segunda, all the matches in the USL Championship, 6 in League One as well. Fox O&E has friendly, Coppa Italia, the league we don't talk about, in the Canadian Premier League, which you can get at One Soccer. I subscribe to that, full disclosure. Fox Soccer Plus, simulcasting, 5 matches in Next Pro on your Saturday starting at 4, 6, 8, 8:30, and 8:45. Paramount Plus, friendlies, 4 matches available, Coppa Italia. It is the big day in the championship as everything kicks off there with 8 matches, 1 in League One, 1 in League Two, Dundee United, Celtic, Scottish League Cup, USL Championship, 6 matches on Viks from Argentina. Liga MX has Atlas and Tigres at 11. Women's side, NWSL, 6:30 and 8:45. ESPN Plus, Northern Super League, Vancouver and Halifax. Fox O&E has a triple header. Peacock, the Gainbridge Super League, kicks off with their fall season as they've reoriented their calendar. 2 matches at 7, 1 at 7:30, and 8:30 has Dallas and Tampa Bay. So DC, Carolina at 7, Lexington, Brooklyn 7, Fort Lauderdale, Sporting Jacks 7:30, Dallas and Tampa Bay at 8:30. Tubi has turned into the other outlet for the NWSL. They have matches 6:30 and 8:45. Viks has Liga MX Femenil. Sunday, French Super Cup, Extra Classe, Championship, Coppa Italia, League One, Community Shield, 10 a.m. Sunday morning, Arsenal, Manchester City. Simulcast on BN in Espanol from BN Programming. ESPN Deportes simulcasting their programming on Shield and La Liga. Fox Deportes has 2 friendlies in the LPF. 2 to NA has a quadruple header in Liga MX. Apple has 4 matches involving teams that played late in League's Cup. Golazo Network, Championship and Club Friendlies, ESPN Plus, Community Shield, La Liga triple header, Eredivisie, Segunda, League One, Fox O&E simulcasting all of theirs. Add Canadian Premier League at noon and 4 on Sunday. Fox Soccer Plus simulcasting Canadian Premier League, MLS Next Pro, 5 matches on Sunday. Paramount Plus, 2 in the Championship, Club Friendlies, 4 Coppa Italia, Scottish League Cup, Viks quadruple header, Liga MX, LPF, 4 matches available. NWSL Women on Sunday at 9, Angel City and Spirit. ESPN Deportes simulcasting, Fox Deportes, Liga MX Femenil, ESPN Plus, Northern Super League, NWSL, Fox O&E simulcasting Liga MX Femenil, NWSL Plus, Courage and Dash, Prime, Liga MX Femenil, Guadalajara, and Atletico San Luis at 7, and that gets us to Monday. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it from our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Link's important. Get all your stuff from all of the folks. Watch what's going on, and you get to find out what in the wide world of sports is going on in your favorite neighborhood with your favorite clubs or just leagues that you keep an eye on in and around the corner. So very, very cool stuff there. And as always, it's great to catch up with them. Speaking of Red Bulls, they have exercised their option to purchase forward Mijahir Jimenez from Plaza Amador, and that has happened for an undisclosed fee, according to the club. Jimenez signed a 2-year MLS contract, and that was through 27-28 options for 28 season, 29 season, and 30 season. He gets to occupy an international roster spot on the Major League Soccer team roster. So that is the latest there. All right. Now, it looks like Stamford Bridge also might be the home for Shakhtar in the Champions League. Now it is time to catch up with somebody who is one of my touchstones when it comes to fantasy football. And he's going to disavow any knowledge of the deal that he talked me into a couple weeks ago. So we bring in Danny Higginbotham and find out what's up with Higgy Baby. What's going on, my friend?
Hello, how are you, my friend? I can't believe you've just given me that build-up.
Wow,
fantasy. I've not even started yet.
We had our draft. I was the number 1 overall pick because I was off.
Oh, okay.
And
that can work out in your favor.
To build for the future. Well, yeah, and I've also had people trying to knock on my door, sit there and go, "You don't want your number 1 for next year, do you? You want to trade down and you want to do this and that." And so I was leaning toward that trade, the Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert deal. I just wanted to have someone to bounce it off of. So you're like my fantasy football bartender.
Wow. It's what I told you should probably do the opposite. So this will be my, I think, 4th year doing it. And the first year I had zero idea what I was doing and I won it all. And then obviously since then I've been boasting and I've like missed the playoffs and then scraped into the playoffs. So it's if it goes wrong, then I know that I'm going to get the blame from a text that you sent me a couple of weeks ago. Did you take my advice?
No. Oh, absolutely. I did the trade. I absolutely did.
Wow. Hopefully it works out. I was being biased as well, wasn't I, for obvious reasons?
I mean, yeah, I figured as much. I mean, I figured that was kind of part of the deal. It's been a while since we've caught up, and I wanted to get your thoughts on one thing that seems to be going through the pipeline this morning because of your World Cup-age, in addition to your MLS-ness. It looks like Braylon Bolo is heading to Atlanta United. And it's a deal they're looking at. 18 million euro is the number. So right now, Braylon Bolo heading this way, finalized things are being finalized. Your initial thoughts if that comes to pass?
I think you look at it and you think to yourself, yes, you know what, this is a good signing. It's a lot of money. Atlanta, they spend a lot of money. But one of the things is that I covered them the first game back after the World Cup when, they played against Nashville. And they gave a really good account of themselves, and I think anybody that was tuning into that game for the first time and you're asking who is where in the league here, you would have probably said that Atlanta were the team that were near the top of the league. But the problem that I see, and this is from the outside looking in, you have a number of good players, I think, at Atlanta. But what they need is sort of take those individuals away and sort of make it more of a team. So I'm not saying individuals have to be individuals, they're more of a collective. Because you could see the way that it was going, even though Atlanta were dominating the game, you just knew that it sucks all the confidence out of them. And I think that's the situation that Atlanta finds. They need this group of players, and like I say, they've got some very good individual players, but they have to make them a team. And obviously they've got a very experienced coach in there who has the ability to do that, but for whatever reason it's not happened as of yet. Because if you look at them, if you just put those 11 players, the 11 strongest players on a team sheet, they're a good team. But say, as we always used to say in England, games aren't won on paper. Now have to make this a collective where everybody is working for each other. The right back complements the right winger, the central midfielder complements the centre forward, that complements the left winger. And that's at the point where they're at now, where they have a collection of good players, but you now have to sort of make them more a collective than more individual. And that's the task now that Tata's got.
When you are in a frustrating season and it seems like you're banging your head against the wall and you're doing great, and then you have that moment like you talk about in the Nashville game. You're doing great defensively for 80 minutes, and then you have that moment, and then you get deflated. How difficult is it for a professional athlete to push through that and turn and get to that 90 minutes and turn these things into positives where it's like there's the banana peel, there's that moment again? How do you get past that mentally to where it doesn't weigh you down and turn into a black cloud for an entire length of time?
It's very, because I think sport in general is very up and down. You have to take the highs with the lows, but winning becomes a habit. And in, week out, you just feel as though when you go onto the football field that you're going to win the game, no matter how poorly you're playing. I would say that game probably summed it up. Nashville, everybody said, they'll be looking forward to this break because they've had so many games. They've been in the CONCACAF Champions Cup and what have you. I was never tired when I was winning. If I was part of a team that was winning, and I could quite happily next day. So it becomes a mental thing. So whereas I've said about winning becomes a habit, so does losing. And the problem is when you're losing all the time, you forget what it A to win, but B, more importantly, how to win. And that the Nashville game really summed it up for me in a way which was like Atlanta were doing all the running, but it was like, oh no, here we go again. And that's what happened. So the only way you can do that is by getting that winning feeling back, by winning, 2 games in a row and getting things going. Then all of a sudden those questions start to go away from your mind, because all of a sudden you get that winning feeling. And like I say, I've been on both sides of it. I've been in teams where I've come off the pitch and we've won 3-0 and I'm in the dressing room and I'm like, how have we won that game? And I've come off the pitch before and we've lost 2 or 3-0 and I'm like, how have we lost that game? So it's football, sport in general has a huge mentality emphasis. And the only way you can get to that point where you want to get to is to get that confidence from winning games. And that's the key, because like I said previously, winning becomes a habit just as losing does. And one habit the other habit is very, very difficult to get rid of.
So you mentioned Nashville. What's study hall been like getting ready for this weekend, eh?
It's been fascinating. It's been, obviously it's a switch from Leagues Cup and everything that's been going on with that, and it's back to MLS now. But I can't wait. I think this would be such a good game. There's many things that are being mentioned about the game. Obviously, know what's happened with Messi, with his father. It's his UC host, and it was so heartfelt. Just reading that myself, I'm fortunate both of my parents are still alive, but just reading it sort of made you feel sort of a little bit of a heaviness of what he's going through. And I think at times we look at this, in my opinion, as the greatest ever player. And I think at times we forget that he's human, and he has the same emotions as everybody else. And I must admit that him coming on in the last game that Inter Miami played in Leagues Cup, I was really surprised. So, maybe he looks at it. And I've played with players before. I've had a manager before where I remember when I was at Stoke City and Tony Pulis I think his father passed away. It was a Monday night game that we had, and I think his father passed away that day. So we were all told that, he wasn't going to be there for the game or anything like that. Half time, he turns up in the dressing room. We're getting beat, I think, 1-0. He turns up at half time in the dressing room. And it was a contrast of emotions then. So, and then looking at it with players that I've played with before that have gone through, these really, really emotional times, really testing times, really sad times. Some players have looked at it and gone, me going on the football field is my oasis. It's where I can forget about everything for 45 minutes, 90 minutes. But there's other players that I've played with that just haven't been able to face that. So it's just aside from the emotional side, and how does Messi see that? Obviously, he comes onto the field in their last game, so he looks as it like that's his happiest place to be, is in terms of to be able to have that get away from what's going on in his life. So I think, does he start tomorrow? Because we know if Messi's playing, then realistically you've got an unbelievable chance of winning the game. So I think that in itself is something to look at. I think you look at, from Miami's perspective, they've got injuries. It's fair to say that Mikael, who's probably been their strongest defender, most consistent defender, he goes off injured. The likelihood is that he's not going to be there. So that's a big blow for them. And then I look at this Nashville team. This Nashville team really impresses me because they find ways to win, whether it's dominating the ball, whether it's sitting back. You look at the forward plays they've got: Noza, Mukhtar, Surridge. So it's going to be a really good game. And if I had to sort of hedge my bets, I think this is a game that Nashville can win. I really do.
So then, in every game that you and Kanji do, there's always the players of the match. You know, we're in that open, and you get player to focus on team A, player to focus on team B. Give me two dudes that will not be those two dudes that will be key to the success for their clubs in this matchup coming up on the weekend.
That will be key or won't be key.
Yeah, they will be key to winning, but they won't be your players to watch. So give me like those second level, B level.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not a second level player by any stretch of the imagination because he's won more than I could ever dream of. He's played at the biggest clubs in the world and he's still going. He won't be my player to watch. Going to be a key player in the game, and that is Casemiro. I think the positioning that he's going to take with the turnover of possession, because one thing that Nashville can do, they can dominate, but Nashville can also play on the counter attack. And I think Inter Miami are probably at their most vulnerable on the counter attack. So I think Casemiro's movement, I think his positioning will be absolutely vital. So he would be for Inter Miami. Now for Nashville,
Nahar,
the centre back.
Okay.
Wallagy, the centre back. They have Nahar is obviously a great mention, but I think in Wallagy and Palacios, Nashville back partnership in the whole of MLS. I think those two players allow the team to play a high line. But I think where a player like Wallagy is going to be really important is Miami don't necessarily press from the front. Okay, so if Bertarami's back fit, he is one of the players that will press. Suarez tries to do as much as he can, but I don't think, his pressing is ordinarily where you would want your centre forward energy-wise to be pressing. Like, they're too on the ball. So a player like Wallagy, if he's able to step out with the ball, keep your eye on him. He can get into the left wing position. He can end up going in the centre position. He advances with the ball. So all of a sudden, this now links the point Casemiro as well. If Wallagy can get the ball and they can break that from Inter Miami, then I think you're going to find Wallagy is going to really open up the field. Because all of a sudden, whether it be DePaul, whether it be Bright, whether it be Casemiro, one of the players is going to have to advance, go to Wallagy. If they do that, then all of a sudden there's a domino effect. All of then the shape of Inter Miami, their defensive gets broken. All of a sudden there's space for Mukhtar high up the field, there's space for Espinoza, there's space for Surridge. So those are the two players that I watch are going to have a huge part to play as in terms of the outcome of this game.
And be careful of the cut back cross. For God's sake, make sure if you're Nashville that you're there and you're ready for the cutback. It's gonna be there, and it drives people crazy.
Do you know what? It drives people crazy, and we all find ourselves watching games and going, "How? Why has this been able to happen again? Why has this been allowed to happen again?" And it isn't due to like necessarily. It's more so the fact of the geniuses that are on the ball. And that for me is something like I've played with players before and I've played against players where they have one or two tricks. And if you're watching the game, like, you know what he's going to do. You know exactly what he's going to do. Why don't you stop him? It's easier said than done. So yeah, you make a very valid point. The cutbacks, if the cutback goes to the edge of the area, number 10's weight, everybody might as well just walk back to that's going to be a restart from a goal. And this game for me, I just find it really, really fascinating. I think an argument for both teams to win, and there's an argument for both teams to lose. I think that's what makes it such a good game. It's first and second in Supporters Shield, second in the Eastern Conference, and it's going to be a great game. We're starting to get to the point now in MLS, which is like, okay, this is the real times, the tasty times, where it's like teams are going to come from nowhere and make a run. Teams who have had a great first half of the season are going to then start go down a little bit lower. So this is the time where, results are going to have like a huge part to play. And as they NFL, at times it's the witching hour where wins become losses and losses become wins. Had to get that in.
Oh, he invoked Scott Hansen and Red Zone on a
What a
Friday.
genius he
That
is as well. What a genius he is.
Oh.
Just going off for one minute, I read an interview that he did because he's on air for like 6 or 7 hours straight. And I read an interview that he did, like how he has to sort of make sure that he doesn't have to go to the toilet during the show. He's had to do it once, and it is unbelievable. He is an absolute genius, and he's enabled me to get more involved with NFL. And obviously, I know we're talking football and things like that, but I just had to get in there because he's a genius.
No, look, when you come in, as I tell you, if you're ever bored on a Friday, if something's on your mind, I'm serious.
I'm stuck in an airport.
If you're stuck in an airport, bored out of your mind, hey, I want to see, I got to get this off my chest. I want to check in with Nelson. I got to see what's going on. But no, we could talk. Look, we could talk Red Zone. We could talk fantasy. We could talk your game with you and Kanji. Look, we could talk barbecue. I don't care. It's a Friday. We're getting ready for the weekend, man. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Just come on in.
We're getting ready for the weekend, so I'm flying to Nashville tomorrow. My parents are flying in tomorrow for 2 weeks. My oldest son's flying in on Sunday, so that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. Definitely,
man.
That's going to be a couple of weeks. Hopefully the weather's nice. Nice and get down to the beach. On the beach.
Okay, just checking. All right. Just be safe, my friend. May you and Kanji have a hell of a call. And obviously, the open door policy, Higgy baby. You can come in anytime you want.
Yes. Appreciate it, mate. Always great to catch up with you.
There he goes. There's Danny Higginbotham. He's got other stuff, and it's always great to catch up with Danny. So it's hit Kanji and Danny. They are doing Inter Miami and Nashville. And that is a Saturday showcase, and it's going to be a blast to listen to that one. But, yeah, a lot of points that Danny made in that. Keep an eye on Casemiro and Max Willedge. I did not have Willedge on the bingo card, but that is definitely one to keep an eye on. So we'll keep an eye on Max Willedge, keep an eye on Casemiro, and keep an eye on that matchup. Okay, now we focus on what's going on in Major League Soccer. Nico Moreno joining us top of the hour, and he's going to bring us home with what's going on in the Pacific perspective. So let's go through your juice boxes. Let's go through your officiating crews, and then what we'll do is we will look at the crew that is attached to Atlanta and Red Bulls, and we will do our deep dive into that one. So we will find out who's doing what where, and we will lay it all out for you here on the weekend. So match day 20. Starting off, they listed the Atlanta match first. So we will circle back to Marcus de Oliveira, who's the man in the middle. Ian McKay, Jeremy Hansen, your ARs. Katya Koroleva is your fourth. Michael Radchuk and TJ Zablocki are upstairs. Charlotte and Columbus at B of A. Philip Dujic is the man in the middle. However, Adam Winkowski and Ben Pilgrim are your ARs. Ricardo Montero Arise, your fourth. Eunice Maracci and Tom Felice are upstairs. CF Montreal, DC United, Stade Saputo. Pierre-Luc Lozier is the man in the middle. Chris Wadham, Gianni Facchini, your ARs. Sebastian Noshan Ravani is your fourth. I think this is his first appearance in Major League Soccer this year. Alan Chapman and Mike Kampmeinert are upstairs. Purple Team and FC Cincinnati at Enter & Co. Torrey Penso, Brooke Mayo, Matthew Nelson, Lorenzo Hernandez, Kevin Stott, and Fabio Tovar are upstairs. Toronto and the Revs at BMO. Joe Dickerson is the man in the middle there. Michael Barwagon and Twain Anderson are your ARs. Fabrizio Stasola is your fourth. I believe this is the first appearance that Stasola has had on a crew. Daniel Radford and Tom Supple are upstairs. Dynamo and LAG at 8:30. Ricardo Fierro is the man in the middle. Adam Garner, Justin Howard are your ARs. Amin Hadzic is your fourth. JC Rivero and Claudio Badea are upstairs. Nashville and Messi and friends. Drew Fisher, man in the middle. Ryan Graves and Red Hamill, your ARs. Alexis De Silva is your fourth. Lucas Zapala and Joshua Patlak are upstairs. Colorado and Sporting, Guido Gonzalez Jr. is the man in the middle. Nick Uranga and Kevin Locke are your ARs. Timothy Ford is your fourth. Kevin Terry Jr., Robert Schapp are upstairs. RSL and Minnesota United, our Jarrett Smith should be in attendance for that one. Rubiel Vasquez, man in the middle, 9:40 Eastern time. Corey Richardson, Jeffrey Greason, your ARs. J.C. Griggs is your fourth. Sean Tahini, Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. LAFC and San Diego FC at BMO, 10:40 Eastern on Saturday. Ismail Elfath, the man in the middle. Cameron Blanchard, Chris Elliott, your ARs. Brandon Stevis is your fourth. Michael Radchuk and Mike Kampmeinert are upstairs. And San Jose and St. Louis City, SC at PayPal Park, 10:40. John Freeman, no relation, man in the middle. Jeremy Kizo and John Krill are your ARs. Eligio Adegin is your fourth. Alan Chapman, TJ Zablocki are upstairs. Sunday, Chicago and Portland at Soldier Field, 6:10 Eastern. Chris Penso is the man in the middle. Gerard Cotter-Lebuy, Jason White, your ARs. Fotis Bazakis is your fourth. Daniel Radford and Tom Supple are upstairs. NYCFC Philadelphia, Yankee Stadium, 6:40. Sergei Demyanchuk, a man you do not want to mess around with, is the man in the middle at the 120 by 68. Corey Parker and Kyle Atkins are your ARs. Sergi Boyko is your fourth. Eunice Maracci and Tom Felice are upstairs. Austin and FCD at Q2, 8:40 on your Sunday. Remy Touchon is the man in the middle. Eric Weisbrod, Stephen McGonigal are your ARs. Malik Badawi is the fourth. J.C. Rivera, Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. Seattle and Vancouver. Cascadia wraps things up Sunday night at Lumen, 10:40. Armando Villarreal is the man in the middle. Catherine Nesbitt, Tyler Y. Rostick, your ARs. And it is Edvin Jurasevich and Robert Schapp are upstairs. Now, back to the top of the order and Marcus de Oliveira. So let's find out about Marcus de Oliveira. Let's learn together. So we go and we check out the ref stats for Marcus de Oliveira. So we go to who scored and fine, accept all. Fine. All right. So it appears that this year, Marcus de Oliveira, no, I don't want to do that either. So pop-up windows. It is 9 appearances in the middle for Marcus de Oliveira this year. Average fouls per match, 25 3/4, 25.78. Fouls per tackle, 0.79. He has called 3 penalties in 9 matches. He also averages slightly under 3 yellows a match, 26 yellows in 9 matches, 2.89. He has not given a red card this year. So with Atlanta United, I believe he has called an Atlanta United match this year. And in that matchup, so the results, it was the Atlanta-Philadelphia Union match in March. So he called that matchup in March, 4 yellows and a penalty. So he called the Atlanta United-Philadelphia match the beginning of the season. So let's check when it comes to where Marcus de Oliveira sits, when it comes to number of fouls, number of yellows, all of that. So let's go to Major League Soccer referee statistics. And who scored goes all the way back to 2023. And I don't care. It's like, that's their default. Literally, you want to sit there and go, well, you know, how about this? And I'm like, well, no, I don't want that. So Marcus de Oliveira has called 9 matches. He's been 9 in the middle. And so he is 8th in the league in fouls per match at 25.78. When it comes to individuals who have called a majority of matches this year, he's 4th. Brandon Stevis has called 2. Joshua Encarnacion has called 2. Ricardo Fierro has called 5. Rodrigo Albuquerque has called 1. If you take them out of the bell curve, Eligio Adegin, Alexis De Silva, Drew Fisher, Marcus de Oliveira. 8th in the overall, regardless of number of times in the middle. 4th of the regulars in Major League Soccer in 2026. So 8th out of 33, 4th out of 29, if you want to go in that direction. So literally he is 4th of the regulars in fouls per match called when it comes to number. Fouls per tackle, he looks like he's lower half maybe. Yeah, so 17th out of 33 puts him smack in the middle. Penalties per tied for 10th with 3 penalties called, 0.33 average, 3 penalties called in 9 matches. Yellows per match, way down the list at 2.89. He is 31st of 33 in yellows per match this season. So, 4th in fouls called among regulars in Major League Soccer. Lower half when it comes to number of fouls per tackle. Penalties per match this season, kind of upper third. But yellows per match, down toward the bottom. He is down toward the bottom in average in yellows per match. Only Brandon Stevens, who has called 2 matches, and Jair Marufo, who has called 7, are below him in average of yellows. So, calls a lot of fouls, doesn't give a lot of yellows. Would probably be the way to look at Marcus de Oliveira in 2026. So, when you go to the matchup with Red Bulls and with Atlanta United, anticipate that. That is what Marcus de Oliveira has done so far this season. Called a decent amount of fouls, but hasn't given a whole lot of yellows. So keep an eye out on that when it comes to what you're staring at with these matchups, with Atlanta United and Red Bulls. So a lot of fouls, not a lot of yellows, and the occasional penalty. And if you remember how things were in Philadelphia and Atlanta at the beginning of the year, at Mercedes-Benz, he was the man in the middle for that. So that's your indicator as to what it's going to look like with Marcus de Oliveira in the middle coming up this weekend. So that's what you're staring at with Marcus de Oliveira in the middle for Atlanta United and for Red Bulls. So that's what you're looking at in that matchup coming up on Saturday. For other matchups involving MLS Next Pro, let me see if we have the assignments for match week 24, see if they have changed. And it looks like they have not. List by pro, John Tamayo is in the middle. Jackson Krauser, Melissa Beck, your ARs. Promise Adebayo Ige is your 4th. And so that is the rundown for your crew at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground. 3:30 pregame, 4:03 kick for Atlanta United and for Red Bulls 2, getting you ready for the matchup on Saturday night with Atlanta United Red Bulls. So second teams, 4:03 this afternoon. First teams, 7:40 tomorrow night at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground, and then down at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So obviously keeping an eye out on all of that. And I'm trying to keep an eye on if there is any kind of Brielle Mbolo update. So, and I know that you guys are faster at this than I am, so I am trying to see if there is anything in the latest when it comes. Let's see. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else that has been added in the last hour. I'm trying to see if there's anything additional to what was said from Tom Bogert early this morning. Everything is circling back to Bogert. Everything is circling back to the 18 million figure in the U.S. and trying to see if, all right, so Sante Auna overseas is in France, and he is going with the number, and he is saying it is finalized. Atlanta finalizes the arrival of Braille and Bolo. Nothing officially official, obviously, yet on the discussion. So, like I said, right now, you've got a lot of folks that are circling back to the Tom Bogert news from earlier this morning and the price tag. So that is all in the same movements. So everything is consistent in circling back to Tom Bogert, possibly referencing Ben Jacobs, one French journalist, but the numbers are still the same. It is the $18 million U.S. transfer, 15 million euro, and that the final stages, Ren reaching an agreement, and Bolo approved the deal, and trying to see if there's anything else that is there. And let's see. It looks like that's kind of where we are. Yeah, everybody is circling back to Tom Bogert first, whether it's Ben Jacobs or whomever. So that's what we're staring at. So right now, all the numbers seem to be pretty much in line. Stade Rennes, 18 million, obviously one of the top 5 transfers in Major League Soccer. And like I said, we'll keep an eye on it, but there is no update from the initial movement that came at the beginning of the show this morning. So that's kind of where we are. That's where we are with it. And numbers are the same. Everybody's circling back to Bogert, so that's where we are. Okay, so that is the rundown in all of this. Now, let's get you into the juice boxes for the weekend and lay it all out for you in as many different competitions as we can try and find here. So checking for what's going on in Major League Soccer and the juice boxes. Like I said, obviously, Nico Moreno is going to join us coming up in about 15 minutes, and we'll go through everything else with Nico there. So Atlanta favored at home against Red Bulls at a -105. Draws a +286. Red Bulls are a +233. CF Montreal hosting at DC United. I've got to change the time. I've got to change the time here because it literally is giving it to me in Greenwich Mean, and I don't want it in Greenwich Mean Time, but I have to subtract. So I got to figure out how to fix the clock on this. But yeah, listed at 2:30 in the morning, which is not accurate. But anyway, CF Montreal is favored at home against DC United at a +121. Draws a +250. DC United's a +200. Charlotte +123 hosting Crew, who's a +191. Draws a +264. Purple team is favored at home against FC Cincinnati at a +114. FC Cincinnati a +181. Draws a +313. Toronto favored at home at a +110. And it is the Revs at a +219 in Toronto. Draws a +259. 840s, Houston Dynamo favored at home, -143. Hosting LAG at a +336. Draw is a +298. Nashville favored at home on the plus side at a +133. Draw is a +269. Messi and friends are a +174. Colorado a -208 hosting Sporting at a +468. Draw is a +363. RSL -139 hosting Minnesota United at a +330. Draw is a +286. LAFC is a -175 hosting San Diego FC, who is a +386. Draw is a +338. San Jose is a +108 hosting St. Louis City, who's a +210. Draw is a +280. 4 matches in Sunday. Chicago -189 hosting Portland, a +393. Draws a +380. NYC hosting Philadelphia at a +118. Philadelphia is a +199, and your draw is a +263. Austin, a dog at home to FC Dallas, and I think a lot of that has to do with Leagues Cup and schedule compression. Austin a +184, draws a +259, and FC Dallas a +127. Take the under in that one. Cascadia, Seattle hosting Vancouver, who is favored at a minus 116. Seattle at home a plus 268. Draw is a plus 280. And we'll go over all of these as when Nico joins us in about 10 minutes, and he'll close out the week for us and let us know what he thinks with all of that stuff coming up just around the corner. So that is your news and notes. That's your juice boxes. Get into news and notes here in Major League Soccer and let you know about who's doing what and where. And if you haven't seen the archive collection, by the way, it's pretty fresh. And it is something that I sure as hell can't afford. It looks gorgeous at points, but I sure as hell can't get there. We mentioned Armindo Sieb going to LAFC from Bayern. Mentioned AZ Jackson on loan back to the Loons. Mentioned the Revs acquiring Tylon Smith from QPR. Mentioned Joseph yesterday signing with Crew. Red Bulls transferred Gustav Berggren to Lech Poznan. Swedish international returns to Poland, spent a season with Red Bull, 3 assists in 19 matches. Began his career in Sweden at Häcken before joining Raków Czestochowa in Poland. Adri Mehmeti has won the starting job at the 6, limiting Berggren's minutes, and they are 8th in the conference. And so Berggren goes back to Europe. Colorado transferred Lucas Harrington to Hull in a historic deal for that club. Club record deal, reportedly 17 million base, add-ons up to 23, sell-on percentage for Colorado. So Lucas Harrington to Hull, and I think that Lucas Harrington has set a new bar for transactions in Major League Soccer. Acquired in August of 25 on a pre-contract from Brisbane Roar, reportedly joined for less than $1 million. So it's a great piece of business, by the way, for Colorado. You sign him for less than $1 million and you flip him for 17, if not as much as 23. So big piece of business for Colorado and their movement going forward. All right, so NWSL. And this is where I'll kind of be going and bouncing around and trying to let you know what we might be missing. Like I said, NWSL this weekend, there's that one match that is right on the schedule, and you're sitting there going, yep, that's one of them. Gotham and Kansas City Current, the stars of Ted Lasso season 4, Kansas City Current. Friday night tonight, 8 o'clock, Gotham, and that surface, and it's going to be at Gotham, and that surface has gone through hell. So Gotham is playing on that surface that has been leagues cupped to death. And so Kansas City and Gotham are going to be the last match in that run of matches there in Harrison, in the swamps, and it's going to be Gotham and Kansas City Current. So we'll see what the turf looks like. Once again, that one's on Prime tonight. We'll see what it looks like, 8 o'clock Eastern. Utah and Bay, that one is at 10. Seattle, Chicago is at 10. Remember, Chicago dismissed their head coach and kept an assistant, brought Lauren Donaldson back. And so they're last in the table, and they're trying to get things moving. San Diego, Denver, late night at the Murph Dragon. Saturday, Racing and Boston at Lynn Family. That one's at 6:30 on Ion, part of their doubleheader. Portland hosting Orlando at 8:45. Sunday, Courage and Dash at WakeMed. That's on the Plus, or the NWSL Plus. Angel City and Washington Spirit. That's at BMO in LA. That one's on ESPN, 9 o'clock on Sunday. And then you end up with matches in the midweek, just to give you an idea where the standings are and how nuts it is. Gotham right now, 40 points. They're on top, 4 points ahead of Spirit. Everyone is through, for the most part, match week 19. You have some with a match in hand, and you even have Angel City and Seattle with 2 in hand. Right now, Utah at 33 points, 1 point ahead of San Diego and 4th at 32. Portland's at 31. Courage are at 30. Kansas City are at 30, behind in goal difference. Angel City is 8th at 24, ahead of Seattle on goal difference. Denver's at 23. Orlando's at 23. Denver's got better goal difference. Boston is 12th at 20, and they have scored 2 more goals than Houston. Same number of points, same in goal difference, and Boston has scored 2 more goals. So third tiebreaker has Boston in 12th, Houston in 13th. Bay is at 19 points. Racing Louisville's at 17. And Chicago, 13 points, 18 matches, 4-13-1. They have scored 9 goals in 18 matches this year. So a goals for of 0.5. They've given up 33. So that would be a goals against of 1.8. So wait, hang on. 3 is 1.84. 1.84 goals against to 0.5 goals scored. That's not going to win you much. 1-8 away from home, 3-5-1 away from home. 9 goals scored this season for Chicago, and they got to this point of the season, and they're like, yeah, we're done here. So that's what you're looking at with the NWSL. But, yeah, the big matchup that is going to be this weekend in the NWSL, if you're near a device or just have it on in the background, that it's going to be chaos personified with a lot of stuff involving the NWSL and chasing to the top. Gotham favored at home at a -125. Royals a big favorite at home against Bay at a -182. Rain even bigger with Chicago coming to town at a -278. San Diego's a -120 hosting Denver. Racing is a dog at home to Boston, who's a +120. Portland favored at home against the purple team, and they are a +114. The purple team is a +175. And then Courage, big favorite at home, -208. Angel City is a dog at home to Spirit, understandably so. They are a +170. Washington Spirit are a +125. So that is the rundown of the NWSL this weekend. Mentioned of obviously what's going on in the world of MLS Next Pro and how big a matchup this is. Once again, only separated by 1 point. And Atlanta United is running out of home matches, so they've got to take advantage. Next 3 are at home, and it is tonight, and then it is Tuesday, and then it is Friday. So those 3 are Saturday. So it is those 3 in a row for Atlanta United, and then they wrap up their home schedule with Connecticut United after the Labor Day on the 8th of September. It's the last home match of the season. So a bit of a home stretch. Once again, if you're going, 403 kick. But once again, you got to go to Ticketmaster and get your tickets. They're free. But you go in, you got to park at the athletic facilities down the street, and they shuttle you over. Got to get your ticket from Ticketmaster, and once again, make sure that your bag fits the specs from Mercedes-Benz when it comes to bag and contents and width and what you can carry in and all that kind of stuff. So, and bring your sunscreen. And a lot of folks have gotten really smart. They're hanging out in like a standing, they've created like a standing room area on the north end of Field 3 where the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, the Emory Healthcare Studios are hiding the sun, and folks are kind of dipping into that shade to stay there. So there are more people that are watching the matches than you may think, but a lot of them right now are hiding under the Emory Healthcare Studios shade in the north end zone, which is as you're watching the goal to your left. That goal, shade is there, folks are hiding there, and that's kind of what you're looking at when it comes to when you're looking at Atlanta United 2 games there if you go. So once again, if you go, it's going to be hot. Bring your sunscreen. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster. They're free, and then make sure your bag fits Mercedes-Benz specs when you go so they can look at it and open it up and sit there. And it's like, yes, it fits. It's not going to be this obtrusive brick or something like that will keep people from sitting in a seat or something like that. So, yeah, go to Ticketmaster. Get your tickets. 403 kick, 3:30 pregame here on the network, and we are looking forward to it. Yeah, Gateway, thank you. I couldn't remember. It's like it's like the place where everybody parks, and then you get the shuttle. It's the Gateway Park. So you go there and you get all your stuff figured out, and you lay it all out for you there. All right, so let's say hi to everybody as Nico's coming up here around the corner. And morning, Abby. Morning, OG. Let's see. Morning, Nix. Morning, Brett. It's Brett. It's been a while. Brett, good to see you. Let's see. There's Nix. There's Brett. There's Abby. There's Michael Head. And let's see. Yes, absolutely. Higgy baby. You knew where I got that from. Nicely done, Alex. Let's see. Nix and Michael Head and Schrei. And Gabe Schrei hanging out with us and making sure that everything is as good as it can be when it comes to everything on the NSBN network. All right. So let's see. Who am I missing here? Nix, Head. Let's see. Michael Will is in this morning. And trying to see who else I may have missed here. Ricky Ricardo is in here this morning. And Alex is in. And I think that's everybody that was on Twitch Pitch. But once again, thanks to everybody who watches and consumes as you do Monday through Friday as you break it all down. So it is a way to look at all of this. All right. So let me see if there's anything that I might have missed or mentioned or did not. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Let's see. Grenada and St. Kitts and Nevis. According to our friends at Inside World Football, they have signed a pro forma support statement for Gianni Infantino. OFC is sitting on the fence over backing Infantino's reelection. 6 Arab FAs issued a message of joint support for Infantino. He only told the MAs he'd canceled the FFE once Thrive Capital had pulled out of the deal because they were looking for a 20% stake. Spanish Super Cup relocates from Saudi to Turkey. The Kiwis have called for an independent governance review as they reversed their position on Infantino. Ireland withdrew their support for Infantino. Trendyol agrees to a Man City deal, Turkish e-commerce folks. Let's see. Germany's 50+1% rule got rubber stamped. Skeptics are calling for it to be applied equally. Bulgarian FA and UEFA grassroots panels discussing developmental priorities. Rooney and Goldbridge are going to be hosting a Manchester United show for Disney+. Celta de Vigo's pitch was given a sick note. No Sassoon is angry over the switch of an agreed new date. And Anthony Taylor says that quitting refereeing was a mind and body thing. And Anthony Taylor had gotten to a point to where he was pretty much, he was done. 20 years as a ref, not involved at the start of the coming Premier League season. 668 matches in England, refereed every domestic final, officiated as many as 163 internationals. And he says, quote, any referee will be lying to you if they said that pressure or that scrutiny didn't bother them because it's a natural human reaction. Described how fear of making mistakes, external opinion, spectators, managers, parents, media, and colleagues feed self-doubt until things can spiral out of control. And so he's now taking a new role as director of elite refereeing for the Turkish Football Federation. Quote, the decision to retire is purely based on my body and my mind coming to its natural course. Adding, it was privileged that people hold my experience and knowledge in such high regard. Confronted once again by Jose Mourinho and Roma fans at the Budapest airport with his family after the 2023 Europa League final. Yes, that Anthony Taylor. So yes, it was that Anthony Taylor that has hung up his shingle when it comes to refereeing, and so now he's going to be in charge with the Turkish Football Federation, working its way through. And obviously now with WAFCON coming to its final 2 to determine who gets WAFCON in 26. If you have not subscribed to Ali Howarth's Substack, you can get the basics, and we'll have Ali on next week to talk about WAFCON and find out what's on his mind with this tournament, which has been fantastic. And the Final 4 had never come anywhere close to being champs in the competition. Algeria could not keep up with Malawi with their pace, and their legitimately speed and strength of Malawi had Algeria on their heels the entire time. And then the Cameroonian match goes to PKs. It was a lot more of a slower slog, goes to PKs, and you end up with that as your final. But, yeah, we'll catch up with Ali next week, and we will get his thoughts on anything and everything involving the tournament, all the things that are going on. So we'll keep an eye on all that going forward. So I'm trying to see if there's anything that I might have missed while we were on the air this morning. Let's see. Bayer Leverkusen open to selling Malik Tillman for an exceptional offer, according to Florian Plettenberg. Midfielder is now one to watch until deadline day. Tillman's release clause was €35 million last summer, activated by Leverkusen. So Bayer Leverkusen, once again, open to selling Malik Tillman for an exceptional offer. I'll put that in quotation marks. Exceptional offer. According to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground, Jay Fortune out with a leg injury. Will Riley could miss Saturday's match. So keep an eye on who could be in and who could be out for the matchup against Red Bulls. And maybe it's just one of those. I'm interested to see what it looks like with Red Bulls and their positioning. You just let them have it and try to work possession, have them do all the work, and then your counter press presses them in and you try to get things in the attacking third. I think that's kind of what that's what I'll be looking at. Obviously, Maddie and Abe will have your pregame 6:30 at 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app. We'll also try and have a Chris Henderson injury update. We'll let you know what happened there with Chris and the hamstring and how it is behaving since Thursday afternoon. And so we'll see where he is on the recovery trail. Wednesday afternoon. So Wednesday afternoon, evening. That was when he felt it balk, and so he could not be in the media match yesterday. And so recovery day today. So we'll ask him on Saturday how his hamstring is when it comes to his road to recovery, and Chris Henderson going there. So Tata Martino also said that Steven Alzate has had a long recovery, went to England to get his green card, now back training. And so now whenever that move is finalized, it will not count against the international slots for Atlanta United. So there's that. All right, so it is added time. It is officially added time on a Friday. And the man is hydrating here in the Kaiser Permanente studios. And we are going to Seattle to find out what's on this man's mind. How are you, my friend? It is great to see you to wrap up another week here on SDH.
What's going on, John? Busiest man in showbiz.
Nah.
How was your debut or your another game on the field with the media? Friend? I'm curious. I just want to know.
You can go to the Atlanta United Twitter account. You can go to the 280. The game is there. So you can watch all of the media members try to mess around on the field. And Brad Gazan was one of the captains. Greg Garza was one of the captains. Garza dressed out, played a lot of minutes. Brad kind of dressed out, played toward the end, and had an absolute banger.
Wow.
So, yeah, he came in and was like a forward pressing at the end. And let's see, Jose Silva, coach of the Twos, was out there. And Chris Henderson was supposed to play, but he felt his hamstring balk at him on Wednesday in training. So he was in street clothes, and we got an injury update from Chris yesterday, and we'll check on him tomorrow at Mercedes-Benz. But the game's out there. Mike Connie and Jason called the match. I was down on the sideline sweating like a you-know-what, and no, it was a fun afternoon. It's always fun. I think this is the 5th year in a row that Atlanta United has done that, where the media get to interact with some of the folks in Atlanta United's purview. No, it's always a fun time.
I love that Seattle hasn't done it for 2 or 3 consecutive years, but I did get to play against Chris Henderson. No, with Chris Henderson at one point in my team when he was still here and the media game was still a thing. Him and Adrian Hanauer and Sean Henderson, Brad Evans, that were all out there. It was good times, man. So good, man. I just wanted to know.
Yep, it's good stuff. Leagues Cup is in the rearview mirror for every MLS team but 4. When you look at match day last and the Leagues Cup experience in Seattle, what sticks in your head?
Oh, man. Yeah. Look, the last game, I ended up going just as a fan with the family, but I got to kind of see it from another angle, at least the stadium and the field. And you know what? It did not sit well with me that Seattle was overrun by the red and white. I mean, there was really a sea of Chivas fans that took over, and you know, there's a little bit of the team was already eliminated. They're in bad form. You could talk about maybe not everybody being on board with Leagues Cup, but at the end of the day, it's not what you want to see here in Seattle. The Chiva chant was definitely extremely loud. When La Hormiga was going to come on at the end of the game, I mean, it was just mayhem. And obviously a game where the Sounders played the kids. They played the Tacoma Defiance players.
Okay. We'll see what's up with Nico and his feed. Well, I'll move him here, and we'll see what's going on with Nico, and we will effort what's up with Nico, and keep an eye on what's going on out there in Seattle, and we'll see what the latest is when it comes to him being here on a Friday. So we'll find out what the Leagues Cup Match Day 3 was about, and get ready for the weekend where it is the return. It is the absolute return of what's going on in all of the action in and around Major League Soccer, and so it will be interesting to get his thoughts on all of it. And I'm wondering if people decided to call him. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's like, dude, you're not on there normally at this time, and he's like, well, yeah, but that's where we are. So we'll see what the latest is with Nico when he can dial back, and we'll find out what we'll see what the latest is with what's going on there. So once again, our friend Nico Moreno joining us on a Friday. I can't thank him enough for doing this, by the way, because it is it is kind of an extra day where he gets to kind of hang out with us, and we'll see what's going on and bring him back in. So I have no clue. I have no idea what happened.
I really don't know what I absolutely hate it, but let's just get back to
it. Get back to it.
So the Sounders definitely did what a lot of us expected, because the team was already eliminated. It was interesting to see Gabriel Milito go with more of a first team lineup. Obviously, he's under some heat, some fire.
Mm-hmm.
He is hoping to get every single win that he can so he can keep his job. So, the Chivas came out and put out a really, really strong lineup. And I thought that it was a very encouraging game to see a lot of these young players like Stu Hawkins, like Galatin Sadness, Charlie Gaffney have, pretty strong games and be out there showing that they deserve at one point or another to be part of this team. Jesus Ferreira had a decent game. Stefan Fry continues to show you that the vet, the cap, he can still do it. So there were some encouraging moments despite the loss, the elimination, and now the Sounders are going to focus on just MLS play.
All right, so you mentioned it. You're focusing on MLS play right now, and it's it is an atypical season, and I will put it that way when it comes to Seattle, because of all the injuries that you and I have been talking about consistently, and just the overall frustration that has been felt there. And now you end up with another section of Cascadia coming up to wrap up the weekend. So yeah, you're out of Leagues Cup. You're smashing it back in the Western Conference, and by the way, you get a big rival coming in to wrap up the weekend.
You do, and fortunately for the Sounders, Vancouver's also dealing with some issues as they try to adjust away from not having a guy like Sebastian Berhalter in the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear to me that, and I think we talked about it before, you and I, John, where you miss a specific piece out of a system that has worked so well with Andres Cubas and Sebastian Berhalter, and now it doesn't quite work the same. And so they've had some adverse results. I think that Brian White, not only was he in a bit of a funk, but he also comes off with an injury after the Juarez game. So where's that kind of leave you with Vancouver? So the Sounders here at home perhaps can really use a bounce back game by beating a top quality team, which they've beat before, by the way, earlier this season, and where the team was playing a lot better, of course, into different tournaments, but definitely a game that the Sounders need. Obviously, as you mentioned, the injuries are still going to be there. The Pedro de la Vega thing hit this fan base like a gut punch to the stomach after a good 3-0 win against Querétaro. And so injuries continue, but the team has a next man down mentality, and they're hoping to, get a result against Vancouver at the very least.
Yeah, you mentioned, and after the match, we played a little bit of Brian's post game, and he didn't really have a report on Pedro de la Vega. What is the latest where de la Vega is concerned?
We have not been told anything about the severity or the gravity of the injury. They said that they were still waiting for some secondary testing. The only thing that Brian did during the week was confirm that it's a quad injury. I have heard various things, and it seems like it's at the very least going to be about a month or two. I'm going to be at Sounders Providence Clubhouse and Party House here in a second, so we'll probably get a better detailed on what it is that the gravity of Pedro de la Vega's injury. But I'll tell you this, John, I'm more concerned about the mental health of the player. I mean, I have gone on our show just recently that you could find on the Sandra Hart Podcast Network and talk about some of the commentary that has been said about Pedro, and he's made out of glass and he's just like relaxing like Billy Ray on the beach, picking up the paycheck and not worried about getting back on the field. And that's just absolutely not true. I mean, this is a guy that truly feels almost embarrassed. He wanted to stay on the field. He tried to fight it through because look, he had been trying to get back in there for this fan base, for this club. And the fact that 10 minutes later you have another injury, I mean, that's got to hit your pride differently. And so it's not just the tears, not just the fact that he was crying, but I think that beyond that, it's just kind of feeling like your body's giving up on you, or maybe like things are not going your way. And so I really hope that there is, and I hear that there is a group of players that have definitely been close to Pedro de la Vega, making sure that he's good. But we'll see how he moves on and how he can get over yet another injury.
5 losses in league, and then I think it was a no win in 9, I believe, if that number serves right. No win in 8, no win in 9, all comps, and then you get to where you are right now. Right now, you're in the 8-9, and that's with everything that's going on, with no offense to speak of, without a whole lot of offense to speak of. You're still right there in the thick of things, but you've got to look over your shoulder. But at the same time, you get things turned around quick. You could have a good week and get back up into things, and you'd be chasing life, just south of the 4 seed. So, I mean, that's what kind of speaks to the Western Conference again. But that's the key here, is getting everybody healthy and figuring out what's going on for the stretch run.
Yeah, and figuring out what's going on has been the topic of conversation. I mean, one of my questions today to Brian Smetzer is going to be, look, you've been on record saying that you're going to look at the training patterns and the medical staff and what's going on. I want to ask him, what's the conclusion? Did you guys figure out, is there a root cause analysis of what's going on currently with the team? Because it's not just Pedro de la Vega. Yemer Gomez Andrade was getting ready to come back. He was dealing with a quad injury, and then all of a sudden it's a calf. It was Paul Arriola. He was dealing with something, and then he goes into a game, has a calf injury. I mean, this is like really a pandemic of injuries of guys that are rehabbing, So there has to be something else be done. But in terms of the players that could potentially play here against Vancouver, you're hoping that a guy like Danny Masovsky that kind of found himself lucky to get a tap and finish against Querétaro. That was the first goal from the striker position for this team, John, in the entire season. They had not had one goal in the entire season from the striker position. They finally get one. Hopefully, Danny Masovsky can get on a roll because they really need that. Jesus Ferreira played against Chivas. I thought he looked good. Albert Rusnak was held back from that game. I'm guessing he's going to start that one. So it's going to be interesting how this team kind of plays this particular game and figures things out. We've seen Alex Roldan play at center midfield. That was interesting. I thought that worked against Querétaro. Maybe we'll see more of that depending on where the team is health-wise at right back and center back, where that's other Alex's positions. But look, to be fair, I do think that Brian is starting to, at the very least, get some momentum and really pick this team up from where it was. However, it's still about, can you bring in a player? Can you get some help to this team? Because I feel like Brian kind of went a little bit too hard or too deep on vibes. And he said, look, me seeing Stefan Fry come out and have the sort of performances is more important. It can elevate this team more than a TAM signing. I would disagree. But we'll see what happens. The team continues to work on trying to get a couple of players. It sounds like now it's going to be a winger and a striker that they're after. Seems like the striker is one that's getting a lot closer. So we'll see where that leads this team. But hopefully there'll be some reinforcements for this club to start climbing up the standings.
Is that a case where Brian is saying what he is saying to calm expectations and keep people away from the player pursuit and just kind of focus on the field, so that way they can kind of do their thing and chase after those players that they know that they need, but not have it as a headline and have everybody kind of looking? It's like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It's like the Wizard of Oz kind of a thing. It's like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Look over there and focus on that, while we know we got stuff to do over here. Is this Brian Schmetzer working distractions here to tail end of the window?
Totally. Look, there's a lot of savviness when it comes to Brian Schmetzer in front of the mics. He's obviously given a vote of confidence to his owner and saying, what, this team is pretty good and I'm fine. I'm doing a great job. There is a sense of I'm showing a vote of confidence on my guys, whether it's the younger guys, the depth guys, and the rest of my team. And there is maybe a sense of opening the umbrella, as you hear me say a couple of times, that is like lowering their expectations just in case nothing gets done. Right. So, it is a lot of tactful conversations there from Brian Schmetzer. So hopefully, at the end of the day, it's not about what you say on the mic. It's about, can you get results? So I think that this weekend, that's where you'll have to really show where, a draw would feel like a win and a win will feel like a party. So we'll see what they can do against Vancouver.
Well, and obviously looking at, we looked at the juice boxes, but I wanted to get your thoughts. And no surprise, Seattle's a big dog in this at a plus 268. Vancouver favored at a minus 116. Draws a plus 280.
Yeah, I like the draw. I'm thinking that the Sounders are going to be very cautious in this particular game. I don't know if they'll play with a 5-man backline like they did against Chivas. It was interesting. They tried that out. Obviously, a younger rotated lineup. But I do believe that there is a sense that, like, you got to start to build some momentum. And Vancouver, regardless of having their own issues, they got some studs out there, right? And it's Ocampo pushing up on what side with the overloads. You got Mueller. We'll see what happens with Brian White. They got Caicedo. They got a lot of players that could really hurt you if you are not careful. So I wouldn't put it past Brian to be a lot more strategic and maybe pragmatic in this particular game.
That's what I had in my head. That's what I had in my head.
So I think that draw, it's looking pretty good for me.
Yep. And I was also thinking of under 2.5. I was thinking under.
I would agree. Yep. I like that as well.
Yeah. So I was thinking under 2.5 in that one. A couple of games I wanted to get your thoughts on. Nashville hosting Messi and Friends. Nashville favored at a plus 133 on Saturday night. Messi and Friends a plus 174.
Ooh. Oh, that's a very interesting game. What's the goal compose on that one?
All right, so let's find out the goal composition here, and we'll find out what it is.
Yeah, because I like those Nashville Miami games. I feel like there's a little bit of a low key rivalry there. I think BJ Callahan takes those games very seriously. He's done a good job, and he's done a really poor job at trying to eliminate and minimize, Messi. So that's an interesting one.
Really? Wow. They haven't posted them yet.
Oh,
wow. Oh, no. Okay, here we go. Never mind. All right. So 3.5 is a plus 114, and 2.5 is a minus 208. So 3.5 is where it flips. So 3.5 a plus 114 in this matchup.
Oh, that's a little rich there for me.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm gonna watch that one.
But check it out, man. I'm gonna go with Nashville on this one. I'm gonna just go ahead and pull the trigger on that. I really do think that Nashville could get this win, and Miami, as interesting as they are, I feel like they can manage certain games. I don't know how all in they're going to be for this one. Defensive issues are still continuing there. I like Nashville in this one.
Yep. All right. And I'm checking your goal. I'm checking your goals in Cascadia before you head to the bouncy house and 5-minute oil change. And let's see. So I said under 2.5 is what I said. So let's see if I was anywhere close to anything. So under 2.5 is a plus 129. So
yeah. I might take that. I might double down on that. That's not bad. One more just for sakes, because this one's always in my radar. Houston Galaxy, the gold compost, and what we're looking at in terms of the juice boxes.
Gotcha. We are dialing that up right now, and we're trying to have people actually understand that I want to go backward. I want to go backward. Yeah, literally, it's like they're looking at me and they're going, bruh, we ain't giving you nothing. So, okay, so Houston and LAG. Houston's a minus 143. Draw is a plus 298. And LAG is a plus 336 on the road at Hell in a Shell. So, checking the goal numbers once they decide to dial themselves up here. Man, the computer is just slower than you know what this morning. Okay, so looking at the goals, plus 2.5, a minus 161. They're thinking goals here. 3.5 is a plus 150.
3.5 is a plus 150.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, what's the 4.5? Give me what was the 4.5?
Plus 350 at 4.5.
Oh yeah, that's a little. I don't know. That might be a trap, but I like this game. You know what? This would be one that I would definitely think that you might have a 2-2 draw. So maybe that draw and the 2.5 might be definitely where I would take that. But it's going to be an interesting game, man. Look, I like what Houston is doing. Galaxy continues to get some help and additional players in, but I think that's going to be an interesting game in this weekend.
Yep, and so we will keep an eye on that. All right, hit the promo for me, my friend, before you head out the door and head to the Providence and Swedish delicatessen and tire rotation joint.
Yes, sir. Well, go ahead and check out right now. It's already out. Our What We Learned This Week. Jeremiah, Shannon, and I got together and broke down the week that was. Talked about the Chivas fans taking over Lumen Field. Talked about the young guys. Talked about the possibilities of the new signings. We talked Pedro de la Vega, injuries, everything you want to know about the Sounders. Go ahead and check that out right now. Sounder Hot Podcast Network, of course, is the YouTube channel as well. And then next week, we're thinking about announcing a couple of really interesting new projects that we have online. So go ahead and wait for that. And then when it comes to Pulso Sports, everything that we get today from Brian Smetzer, which I'm guessing is going to be somewhat eventful because they got to give us something on Pedro de la Vega and other injuries. So go ahead and check that out at Pulso Sports.
What he said. As always, my friend, great to see you. Glad you could come on a Friday to get everything rolling as he enjoys his hot beverage as he reps the Palouse. As always, my friend, love you very much. Great to see you.
Thank you, sir.
See you again next week.
You were the man, baby. Take it easy.
There he goes, Nico Moreno from Pulso Sports. And all right, so once again, morning, David. I know that David admitted that he is in. OG getting into what happened in the media match yesterday. And like I said, you can go back and watch it. It is on the ATO UTD Twitter account, and it's still there up for broadcast. So the thing with the Team Garza experience, what had happened was literally, and I got this from their goalie, Nicolifi, and from right back, Sofia Cupertino, there were a lot of folks that were interested in the offensive play and not a whole lot that were interested in coming back and playing defense. Because remember, it was 3-2. It was 3-2, and then Team Gazan put the pedal down, and they scored 6 straight to win 8-3. So you had too many players that were interested in the offensive part and not many that would double back to help out Nick and Sofia. That's what I gathered from catching up with them after the match. So that's I think that was really more than anything. It's like the lack of defensive discipline, especially when the game was spiraling early in the second half. Okay, so David wants to know, catching any updates. So I'm going to go one more time, and I am going to check and see if there is anything that we are missing from the initial report that was involved very early in the show about Braille and Bolo going to Atlanta United. 17 minutes ago, it was reported on L'Equipe. Here's their headline. Braille and Bolo under contract until 2029 has left to join Atlanta, MLS. So, reported by Ouest France, preparing to leave Rennes for Atlanta United. Under contract, could be the subject of a transfer fee of around 17 million euro, excluding bonuses. Mbolo arrived at Rennes very end of the summer window last year after 3 seasons at Monaco for approximately 15. It was agreed that he would saw less playing time toward the end of the season when his team played a 4-3-3 with Esteban Lepal leading the line. It was agreed that he would consider other offers this summer after his World Cup. Return to training August 6. Name linked with Serie A clubs, Atlanta United have made a more concrete move. With his departure, Rennes would lose a significant salary as well as a valuable attacking experience, and the Breton club could consider replacing him with a taller player. So that literally is L'Equipe from this morning. So looking at West France, yes, yeah, that's fine. Tout accepter. Okay, so entering the final stretch of the transfer window, Stade Rennais, things becoming clearer. 15 million euro, almost finalized, and this was at 13:42 minus 5, so 8:42 this morning, our time. So before we went on the air, nearing completion, and it's not insignificant. Transfer is on the cards. So that is what you're staring at from West France. And from L'Equipe. That is French reporting from this morning involving Braille and Bolo. And I'm trying to see, once again, if there's anything that's like the latest. And transfer 15.4 million euro. Let's see. Let's see. So Gotu Ozol. See, for MLS, Mbolo is a more fitting profile. Name who runs more and creates position threats. And let's see. So Media Foot, 15.4 million euro. So 15.4 seems to be a number that's posted in the last couple of reports. 15 million euro is 18 million US. Let's see. Major designated player. That and that. So 17 million. Yeah. So 15 to 18 million euro is what it's looking like. 18 million US, I think, is the number that you're staring at. Nothing new other than it's close. That's where we are. So 15 million euro plus is a reported fee. So 18 million US is where we are with Braille and Bolo at the moment. So the 29-year-old striker, according to L'Equipe, they're close. Keep an eye on it. So that's probably the biggest update of them all that we have with Braille and Bolo. Okay, so that'll do it for today, I believe. I believe so. And once again, remember, 3:30 pregame, 4:03 kick, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground on the network. I'll have your pre and half, and it will be Maddie and Jason on the call for Red Bulls 2 and for Atlanta United 2. Big match in the Eastern Conference coming up around the corner in MLS Next Pro. So that'll be on later today. Then tomorrow it is 6:30 pregame, Maddie and Abe, 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app. 7:40 on the call, Mike and Jason. And then we'll have the full-time report after with me and Abe while Maddie and Jason go downstairs and they try and grab sound for all of the things that were attached to the matchup as we are back in MLS play. And it's going to come fast and furious with the matchup with Red Bulls. Then in the midweek, they're in Minnesota. And then on Sunday Night Soccer, it is Atlanta and Sporting Kansas City at Mercedes-Benz a week from Sunday. So 3 matches in 8 days for Atlanta United. Home to Red Bull, at Minnesota, home Sunday night, next, Sporting Kansas City, and that gets us through the end of August. Thanks to all of y'all for a very, very fun, very, very busy week here on SDH. A lot of folks came to visit, and we could not be any more blessed to have them hang out with us, any more blessed to have you guys hang out with us as you always do when it comes to being the plus ones that you always are. So the plus ones and all of the OGs, it's great to have you here, and invite your friends. We'll keep an eye on Brell and Bolo, keep an eye on all that stuff as we go. Picks of the week will be posted in the Discord for the weekend, and we'll talk about them at the end of the Tuesday show. Tuesday might be an abbreviated show because of Atlanta United and their matchup with Chicago Fire 2. That's 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground. We'll have that one for you, 10:30 pre and 11:03 kick. We'll be there for that one, coming off of this one as we've gone forward. So for everybody here, to all of you there, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us as you always do. Since it is the end of the show, that means one thing and one thing only. We go here, and we'll see you from Children's Healthcare, 3:30 on the network for pregame. Atlanta United 2, Red Bulls 2 on the SDH Network. Mucho plati, y'all. Play it safe. We'll see you in a couple hours.
The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress. The streets are ours because it's Friday!